Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Midwest Campus Clash Finals. Can I get you to make a little bit of noise for these two teams?
Yeah, that's what I like.
Sounds like you guys are every bit as excited as we are for this one. It's going to be Robert Morris University versus Maryville University. Neither team the higher seed in this one actually just chose their sides off a coin flip. Robert Morris electing to play the blue side all three games. Likely will be Maryville on the red. I believe it's all three. That's what's likely. Assuming we get 3 games.
Right, assuming we do get 3 games. But actually, before we get into this, I want to express my gratitude to Columbia College.
Oh, absolutely.
And to this amazing audience out here. You guys are great.
Absolutely. Want to just put a little bug in your ear. You guys were so great for the Columbia games. The excitement level was just tops. So if you are out there in the audience, a Columbia fan, please pick a team up here, Maryville or Robert Morris, to root for every bit as hard, because if we can get that degree of energy into this finals, it's going to be some of the most exciting League of Legends we've ever seen live.
Yeah, this is going to be great, and I'm really excited to see how this plays out. These two are some of the best teams in the nation for collegiate League of Legends.
Absolutely.
And so being able to see these two teams live is such a treat, especially for me, being able to cast them throughout the season. This is amazing.
Well, they're going to be going to play on Riot Games' own stage in Los Angeles in just a short month or so away, just a couple of weeks, a few short ones.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too long. In the meantime, we've got a game to get into.
Yeah, we do, and we are going to be getting them together here very shortly. And so we all just kind of saw Robert Morris play, so we've got a little bit of a lowdown on how they play and what they like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing to point out about all of these games is that we saw the flexibility of Pinks and Gillette on that casting. He kind of just plays whatever, and he does very well on it. Bucksack and Evan RL can never be counted out because they responded to the aggression of Columbia's bot lane just as well.
That's absolutely right.
And so, I mean, we're seeing so much is really happening here, and you know, it's
right.
It's going to be a really exciting game to watch.
Bans right out of the gate. Both of these teams knew exactly what they were going to be doing against one another. It's going to be Thresh Caitlyn banned away by Robert Morris Talia, and then Malzahar taken away right out of the gate, and there will be no Renekton for Saskio today.
Well, no Renekton for Saskio, and also no Renekton for West Coast Carry.
That's true.
Because West Coast Carry, we saw him play that extremely well, and we do see the Gnar being banned away as well. West Coast Carry played that the game before.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of target bans, but also strength bans coming out here because of the way these players play the meta very well.
Absolutely right. Well, it is a couple of targets. The top lane targeted a little with 2, the bot lane targeted with 3, and then they just took away the Talia for Gillette by Pinks. He's not going to get that. Makes a ton of sense. He was such a threat to them in the North Finals of the CSL a couple weeks back that they have to put a cap on that.
And that's the thing, though. It doesn't matter that they took away that Talia because he got Vladimir.
Yeah.
And we've seen Vladimir a couple of games today, and it is so deadly, so very strong.
It's amazing, yeah.
And so having Gillette play that Vladimir is extremely. If I was Robert, or if I was Maryville, you have to be thinking like, okay, what am I going to do about this? Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to pick up a Lucian, get the Rune King?
You're going to get Shen. Saskio's going to get Shen. That's what's going to happen. Karma as well run right through. Actually, the first time I believe in a while I've seen Papa Chow drop that one over Lulu. So going to be pulling that one through, and that's interesting to see actually because it does just leave open so many supports now. I feel like Evan RL can safely pick whatever he wants. Zyra maybe on the docket if Ashe is the lock in here. Lulu, obviously a very strong choice. Wouldn't be surprised to see that one locked in a bit.
Yeah, well, I actually feel like Lulu works out really well with the way that Gillette plays. Gillette likes to play in the middle of the enemy team, and with Vladimir, he can Sanguine pull in. Yep. Once he comes out of Sanguine pull, rapid growth to knock everybody in the team up. There's a lot of combos that you can do with that Lulu, and they haven't even picked their top laner yet, who may even be a Nautilus or a Maokai, where that combo would be even stronger.
Right. No, you can just pull all of that right out of a huge Ashe Arrow pick as well. So is on the table there. Well, no Elise for Chody Walrus today. He's actually going to be pulling in the Lee Sin first game around, so excited to see what's going to happen there because the aggression of his Lee Sin, I feel, has been a little bit more effective and potent throughout this tournament than his Elise. Kind of been alternating between the two. I know there were some other picks waiting off in the wings. We'll see if any of those come out, maybe if RMU comes up a game. in this series. I was heard from the RMU coach it's going to be a quick 2-0.
Woo! Spicy.
Fighting words.
I'm actually really excited to see this game come out, especially because Prototype did pick up that Ezreal, who is one of the most contested picks right now in this meta.
Oh, yeah.
So having the Ezreal on the docket basically for Maryville, it's going to be huge, especially because of the way Prototype normally plays.
Right.
However,
I feel like he's been hiding that all tournament. He's not brought out the Ezreal yet, has he? Have we seen it?
I don't think so, but I think it's been banned out quite a few times there, so
Right.
I don't think it's ever really had the chance to come out.
Kha'Zix.
Woo! That's a new one.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. Very stylistically similar to the Rengar, which we know Mordio plays a lot, but has a few crucial differences to keep track of. Now, Rumble for West Coast carry, that's going to be pretty big. Coming into the Shen, he's not afraid to run that one. And I swear to the almighty, if Papa Chow picks Teemo,
If we get another Teemo game,
he's just memeing.
Anyone?
He's just dropping his dankest
hello,
memes on
team?
this one.
Team? So I think the interesting thing about this though is Rumble is very strong into Shin, but Rumble is very good at lining teams up, like using the equalizer to just demolish through teams. And we talk about this a lot, but he's basically a poverty top laner. He doesn't require a lot of gold to get going, and so having that available to him would be very good. But also, to talk about the Kha'Zix combo a little bit, Kha'Zix can use his ult to go invisible and then jump into the middle of the enemy team and then get hit by the Lulu, the Lulu rapid growth. I'm actually really glad we didn't see Little Block come out because a couple patches ago, Riot just kind of picked her up and then threw her in the trash can.
Yep.
And it was like, this is
Not good.
We don't want this.
Nope.
Put this here.
Oh. Fair and balanced.
Fair. Those are my two favorite words when there's a Vladimir in the game.
Oh, boy. Well, it is a Kassadin picked in response. Cat God says, yeah, you can play it. So can I. Not too worried about that one. I really like, actually, them picking up the Kassadin as a response to the Rumble in particular. You need a mid laner that can get out of that equalizer or the AoE Vlad area. Every member, save Karma, on the side of Maryville, has some sort of dash, jump, hop, skip, twist, just to reposition and get out of that one.
Right. Everyone has an oh no button.
Exactly, yeah. So you can just, in theory, with 4 out of the 5 champions here, just dip set.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no, we're not doing that. Later, skaters. I like it. I really do think it's clever drafting, especially when you have things that are going to want to chase you down. You've got the Kha'Zix there. You've got the Vladimir, who's pretty much, actually, that's really aggressive to see him running the Ignite.
Yo, you go big or go home on this stage right now. This is the finals.
It absolutely is.
You have to be aggressive. But like I said, this plays directly into how Pink/Gillette plays. I mean, he's very aggressive. We saw him come out very heavily on that. The nice part is that with that Kassadin, he will be able to throw out that Nether Sphere to absorb some of that transfusion damage that comes off as like easy poke from Vladimir. So I think that's something that they can deal with. And so I'm curious to see how this works out because we saw Pink's playing that Kassadin that last game, and it was just extremely effective. He was able to show up behind Hollywood and just delete him, and that was one of the big reasons that Columbia College lost. I would say arguably lost that first game because it was so incredibly close before.
Oh yeah.
Until Pink showed up, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna save this game for my team, and so he did, and that's very, very scary. But the good news is Cat God actually does instead have that Kassadin on his side, so maybe he's the one that goes through and like deletes the Ashe or maybe deletes the Kha'Zix before things even start to get going.
Yeah, has that option available. I don't actually see it being the most likely outcome.
I mean, who knows?
No,
and
certainly not I.
Well, that's the tricky part for me when casting these two teams. You and I got to cast them in the finals for the North Division.
North Division finals, yes.
Yeah, for the North
All
Division.
All 5 games was taken by Maryville.
Yeah.
In a close 3-2.
It was almost a reverse sweep coming out for Robert Morris. And so for me, this is a very hard game for me to cast because a lot of these players play the same champions, and a lot of them play them differently based on their style.
Right.
And so you can arguably say that you don't see Cat God doing that, but
no.
Who really knows? Because these guys adjust their style. The level of play that these two teams bring to the table is just so high that they can mix it up and play to the situation. Like they can play champions to the situation instead of just playing their style all the time.
Right. It doesn't get stale because they're an adaptable young group of players, and that's such a commendable talent at this point to be flexible in league. That is sort of the lifeblood of this game is adapt or perish.
Yeah, and we even see that with professional LCS teams, right? Like, we see a lot of them, sometimes they're just not able to adjust to the meta, and then they end up losing. So that's really the same way for collegiate teams. And we actually have seen that with some of the teams that we cast in CSL. They start off very strong, and then as things get farther along, they falter a little bit because they build their style around a meta.
It certainly does
and
happen.
the meta comes out.
Teams get patched out of favor every now and then, and it's decidedly unfortunate, but that is what separates the good from the great, the men from the boys.
Yeah. And with that, actually, we are going to be loading into the first game of the Midwest Campus Clash Finals between Robert Morris University and Maryville University.
I'm so excited to see this one play down.
This is gonna be
I
great.
want 3 games. That's what I want.
A full 3 games actually would be really, really sick. Just the hype surrounding it would be really great, I think.
I think so as well. We're hearing from production. It's best of 1. Oh, winner take all.
Best of 31? Oh my. Do I have the time for that, Dan? And so, with that, we actually are going to be rolling back into this game. We do see two Dark Seal purchases coming out, actually, 2 counter Dark Seal purchases, Vladimir and Kasten going for blood early on, getting those Dark Seals. They want to go greedy.
Yep.
It's actually the exact same buys.
I love it. My favorite thing in all of League of Legends is when Shen just grabs triple rejuve bead and then just farms to 40 minutes.
Triple rejuve bead, 1 pot into Rumble, who's got the Doran shield.
No, I know it. It's going to be...
and the 1 pot.
You can take the stale tanks out of the top lane, but you can't take the top lane out of the stale tanks.
I don't know what that means.
It means we're going back to some Nautilus versus Maokai.
Oh yeah. The good news is about that, though, at least Rumble is able to have a fair bit of decent damage output, actually, for very little bit of a gold investment.
Yeah.
Getting the Sork shoes, the Haunting Guys. He can even pick up...
Doesn't need a lot to get that ball rolling.
Yeah, then he could get the Seeker's Art Garment as well to help provide some of that damage, cut down some of that damage that comes in from Saskio there on that Shen as well.
Top lane for me is going to be really interesting this game because you have the double global pressure coming out from Shen in general, right?
Yeah.
You also have a mid lane with TP. So this is, in theory, a triple teleport threat at any given time past level 6 here.
Right, and you actually have a very heavily roaming mid lane as well who may not even need teleport to get where he wants to.
I mean, with his Rift Walk ability, he can cut through jungle so quickly should he be willing to burn that prior to any gankage.
And that's the thing, it's on such a short cooldown, the mana cost does start to stack up pretty fast, especially in the early levels when you don't have any real mana items available to you. But like, he can use that to jump over a couple of key walls and make the pathing towards getting to a gank a lot easier than someone who doesn't have that ability available to him. Like, I mean, Talon can parkour over walls.
Right,
but he's not able to, like, parkour over a champion and do damage to them at the same time.
Right, no, Kassadin, unique in that regard. I can't think of too many other champions that have that skill set right out of the gate. Get to level 6, proceed to win the game. That's how that works. You remember Season 3 Kassadin?
I do.
Oh, the days.
Oh, that was when, who's the top laner for Fnatic?
Soaz.
No.
The mid laner, Xpeke?
Oh, yeah, Xpeke. That's what it was. Yeah, when he would just, like, when he did the Xpeke backdoor.
Yep.
Man.
We have a teleport Kassadin.
We do?
The dream's alive.
The dream is Season 3, anyone?
Oh, boy.
Is it back? And that's the thing, is I feel like I want to try to, like, analyze this game and go in depth to it, but it's really hard because any lane can go in any one direction. Even so far with the way that these lanes are playing, right? Like, Saskio is playing up in the face of West Coast carry. Doesn't care if he gets hit by that Flame Spitter because he's got 3 rejuve beads. It doesn't matter.
Right, no, he can just, in
Take it
theory,
on
take all sorts of damage, walk away, spend 15 seconds, and then just come right back into it. So,
Yeah.
in pretty good shape there. Being able to negate a lot of Rumble's auto attacks will be helpful, but Rumble's so cast heavy that I don't think it's going to be too big of an advantage. The taunts from downtown, I think, are going to be his biggest play here because he's just able to get right in, nullify a lot of the damage because he's just spitting it back with basic auto attacks.
Yep.
Rumble Flame Spitter on the way. Is calling the Cosmics up, though. that's gonna be the risk he's playing, is by playing in the face of West Coast carry. Saskia is now baiting himself out to Mordio. We'll see what comes of it.
Well, and that's actually a big point. I was going to make that before we kind of got off on the tangent about Saskia and West Coast in the top lane. Is Chody Walrus is actually getting some of his jungle taken away by Mordio. Mordio did manage to take away the Raptors, but then Chody was like, I'm going to go take his golems. And so he went to go take his golems. But then Mordio just went and took his. And so it was almost an even trade across the board in terms of counter jungling happening. And that's really interesting thing to me, because both of these players are like trying to get in each other's heads by counter jungling each other, and they just counter jungled them the exact same way, just on different sides of the map.
No, I'm with you. It's beautiful symmetry, but it does position Chody Walrus in for the first attempted gank. He's there on to buy Pinks and right back out. No mana from Cat God to really pull it back in, and fortunate for him too, because Mordio was in the area. I don't know if they were aware of that information.
So something actually to note that we didn't really touch very fast is, like, with that burst damage coming out, Free Papa Chow did burn that heal to try to keep Prototype alive.
Yeah.
Prototype has been at such low health for so long. But that also is a testament to how much damage they're putting down onto Buckzak, because Buckzak started out with 3 biscuits and he has none now.
Ooh, yep, he's just been chewing right through him, but it's been favoring him okay, because he should force Prototype to take the first back here in this lane. Actually, a flash out?
So much damage.
Yeah.
That's a lot of aggression coming out from
probably didn't have enough
Buckzak.
Ooh. Well, all in all, that does keep Buckzak well poised to stay in control of this lane. It's a 300 gold lead between these two teams. A little bit of, well, that's significant when you're only 7-ish K gold into the game, because that means it's all just off the back of early play, good CS advantages, jungle clear, and that's going to be pretty big. They're actually going to have to show now Chody Walrus in the bot lane. It's going to give Mordio some freedom, a little bit of information, maybe get some vision down, continue with his counter jungling. There's nothing spawning on the top side, so that's not as likely.
And the thing to talk about, though, here is that we did see that West Coast Carry actually didn't burn his teleport, and neither did Saskia, but he still has a 15 CS lead up on against Saskia, and that is pretty big, because that does allow him to pick up the Ruby Cluster, allows him to get the Amp, Tome, buy Pinks.
Yeah, Papa Chow just really coming into zone more than anything else, I think. I think their biggest goal here is to deny that cannon minion.
Oh.
And it's good! They get first blood, actually. That's a surprise and a half. Did not see that one coming, actually.
Well, that very early level 6, actually, I think surprised by Pinks as well.
Papa Chow with the flash for the assist. I love it. Gotta keep your kill participation stats up. That's all you have as a support.
That's right. All you have is kill participation. But if you're Free Papa Chow, you also have kills secured from your AD carry, because we've seen him carries like just take so many kills before.
Was it the Zyra game where he was just grabbing them left, right, and center?
He was like 5-1 at some point. I was like, what are you doing, Papa Chow? Prototype's just sitting here at like 2-2-2.
Yep. Just knowing Prototype too, I'm sure that's like just jibing him just a little.
Right. You're like, I can carry, but I'm not.
Just let me.
Because Chow is taking all my kills.
Yep. So that's the business.
Yeah, and that's important. Oh, hey, hang on. Cat God actually picked up 2 of the Dark Seals.
Yep. He did indeed do that.
Which is actually interesting, considering that is a unique passive. So.
Doesn't stack.
It doesn't. The passive doesn't stack, which is like
the
glory stacks.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
But the other stats.
The base stats, right?
And those are. It's actually a pretty cost-efficient item early on, because you can sell it away, especially if you don't have anything available to continue on to your Roa. And
ooh, he's just gonna keep
so
going.
Much damage.
He's got another kill here, I'm pretty sure.
No, he won't be able to. Yeah.
It was close.
Oh, if he goes in for this.
Yeah, that's a bit of a miscommunication. We'll see if Saskia teleports back top for that one.
I think what they wanted to do was Cat God wanted to go in. Saskia did not pull the trigger as fast as Cat God wanted, so he backed off. And then by that point, it was just way too late. Pinks was way too far under the tower.
I think we're on a collision course here for the junglers.
Yeah.
Walrus knows Mordio's there. Gonna get in the courtesy Sonic Wave. Says, hey, don't come in here. This is my fort.
Stay back. This is mine. And we do see Saskia actually is back in this mid lane, but here comes West Coast Carry.
Yeah, no, there are 3 members of Robert Morris here ready to collapse. Saskia says, try it. They're ready to turn the damage back should they need. I'm surprised 8.5 minutes in here, we've not seen too much come out around this Infernal Drake that's here on the map.
Yeah, there's not even that many wards out around
Nope.
it. I think these two teams are playing very pensive, waiting to see what the other one does so they can react to it.
Right.
I think both of these teams do like to take the advantage and like pull the trigger and make something happen, but I think they're kind of a little bit nervous just around each other and how the other plays. And so I think they're waiting for something to happen, but Pinks actually might.
This Vladimir,
He's getting dangerously close to death.
It's
very,
first,
very
it was
often.
his first pick in contrast to last pick. And it's been favoring Cat God so far. CKG's just been rolling through with it, jumping in. The gold, or the CS, is definitely in his favor as well as the gold, thanks to that first blood he got. Assist credit going to Papa Chow for that one. So he's going to be pretty well poised over this. There's about an 800 gold lead favoring Maryville. I wonder how much of that is individually centered there. Yeah, just about all of it, actually. 800 gold.
Oh,
We got a
big
gank happening,
equalizer.
though. Saskia flashes, thinks he can live through this one, gets the taunt, denies a lot of the damage, but it's a good tower juggle. Maybe not good enough. Carry flashes in, takes it away. He'll take a tower shot, but he will get out in one piece. The health bars are low, and actually Prototype may have regretted burning that True Shot barrage, because there were 2 downtown kills he probably could have swiped.
Yeah, 2 very, very low health targets there. It does. Oh wait, hang on. Here comes Trinity Wallace
I
on the backside
don't think
though.
he's going to be able to get in there in time. I think he's just trying to get down some vision, yeah.
Yep.
I was hopeful.
I was too. We have seen Chody Walrus make some very good insect plays this tournament. He's played Bleason a couple times. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
goodbye, bye, Pinks. Don't think he's going to get out of this one alive. CKG can
Oh.
actually follow on.
Oh,
Doesn't even
that's
need to
so
follow
much
up with a
damage.
flash, but it's a phenomenal crystalline arrow to just stop that dead in its tracks.
Man, Gillette is getting out by the skin of his teeth every time here.
He's had some help from his friends, getting by with a little help from his friends there.
Yeah, that would have
Did
been.
burn both summoners there, and I think that's the biggest thing for me.
I agree, and that actually is a little bit taken away from the bot lane with Bucksack and Evan RL. Prototype and Free Papa Chow have been putting the aggression down on top of them again, and so taking away that crystalline arrow for at least a little bit of CC and stun and preventing them from doing anything, they're not able to make that happen. Morio getting caught a little bit.
It's Infernal Dragon going down to the credit of Maryville there. Going to be a nice little boost for them. Not off the bat, but pretty soon as their items start to stack in just a little bit. So they're going to be happy to have that one picked up and in the pocket. Plus, it's going to move the Dragon economy just a little bit further now.
And that's
Going to be a Ocean Drake next?
Yeah, it is going to be an Ocean Drake next. And
Yep.
the Infernal Drake pickup early is good, but it's actually not that great. I've talked about it a couple times. You don't really start to see the effects of the Infernal Drake until about 2 items being stacked.
Yes.
2 full damage items being stacked up. And since just missing the
Close one.
Sonic Wave.
Skin of his teeth.
And so that actually doesn't spell certain doom for Maryville at all in this case. You lose an Infernal Drake, sure, you lose a little bit of extra damage early on, but it's not the end of the world because you have a little bit of breathing room where you have the ability to kind of take the lead and get an advantage yourself where it kind of nullifies that early Infernal Drake pickup.
True Shot Barrage not living up to its fullest potential. Prototype. Maybe just fat finger in that one.
I fat finger it all the time.
Oh
It's
yeah,
unfortunate.
it happens. Happens to the best of us. And still maintaining this counter jungle presence from Morty. I mean, he's just all over the place in this jungle. The assist ping comes down, though. I think he's not going to be able to take away that red buff. Just keep things moving. There's a little bit of focus on the lanes. Slapping each other around a bit, but all in all, for a 12.5-minute game, this has been incredibly quiet.
Yeah, it's been an incredibly quiet game, and it's a little bit of a difference from the games that we normally see coming out of either Robert Morris or Maryville. I will say RMU's games have been a little bit quieter today than they normally have been, where it's just like a very silent lead starts to creep in. They win 1 or 2 fights, and from there they just kind of steamroll their way down. And in this case, I mean, it makes me wonder if Maryville is kind of feeling the same thing a little bit, just trying to stay a little bit pensive about it.
I think you just have to be a little nervous, right?
Right.
I mean, they're playing right in front of the trophy that they're competing for. They're playing right in front of the $15,000 check that they're competing for.
That's a lot of money per
Right.
person. That's $5,000 a person. That's a huge Oh, sorry, 3. I'm sorry, I wish I could count. $3,000 per person. Pink's taking a whole lot of damage. It's going to
Yep.
be able to survive with this single focus.
He keeps turning around the ultimate every time, and it's not really doing that much to Cat God. Still no flash from this one, but Ignite is there. or will be off cooldown in just a couple short seconds anyway, so I doubt the tower dive will come through for Cat God. Just priming it every so often, but Prototype may have finally found the first in onto this bot lane tower. They've been chipping away at it so long that by the time they actually want to take the jackhammer to it, it's there. Bucksack pops the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but it's not really doing a whole ton, and there is the Stand United coming out from Shen. West Coast Carry's been on the back with a teleport as well. Prototype's got to play this one carefully. He's splashed in on, steps into the circle, but it's not enough. West Coast Carry takes out Prototype, but not before Shen Saskew gets a hand on Evan RL. So all in all, the top laners both going to walk out with a kill piece from that one. Will be the second there for Mr. Rumble, but Saskew's got to be careful because if he can't get out of this one in one piece, it will be a net loss for the side of Maryville.
It looks like he's going to make it out just fine. He is able to use that Stand United to actually get into the fight. Didn't necessarily save Prototype. Prototype playing very aggressive there, trying to get the kills. Does pick up the assist, actually. Doesn't even get the kill for it. So lost his life for no reason. Saskew picking that up instead. He does have that Spirit Visage early, so he is going to negate a bunch of that damage coming out from Gillette, and also a bunch of the damage that's coming out from West Coast Carry right now, because he did just finish his the Leandri's Torment, so that does have 15 flat magic pin on it.
Yep.
But the Spirit Visage gives you 55 magic resist.
Right.
So it'll cut into it a little bit, along with the percentage health burn that comes off of it. But you're not really seeing a whole lot of damage that'll be able to be magic damage that can be laid down onto Saskew at this point.
No, I get it. He's got to drop in the bucket, but needs a little bit more. Got to find the hose and crank it up because have to fill it up. He's just splashing little drops of damage here and there. It's not going to be exactly the most effective strategy against what will inevitably build into the split push. He's got the Spirit Visage now going into the Tiamat, and I assume at some point we'll get a Balmy Cinder in there.
Probably. I would see maybe get the Tiamat, then pick up the Balmy Cinder to go into
Split push.
Yeah, the split push, but I think it really just depends, like, from what he builds out of that Balmy Cinder, or he decides to keep going for the Titanic. Just really depends on how the game develops from here. If he decides to rush the Sunfire, maybe that means that Bucksack got a little bit farther ahead, Mordio got a little bit stronger, so they need to protect against some AD. Or he can just use that Titanic Hydra and prioritize split pushing across the map, more so than really trying to be a frontline tank. But I think still takes so much damage.
Gets in, loses about 3/4 of his health, pops the ultimate, and we're back to square one.
He doesn't have a whole lot of health
The
left.
story is old as time, but this time it's a bait. Cat God having to flash, rift walk, just get out of that one in one piece. West Coast Carry still wants it. Likely won't find it, but they may have found themselves an outlet for this mid lane tower now, as there's very little defense. They're going to call out the True Shot Barrage just for a little bit of wave clear. I don't think Mordio's going to mind tanking up too much of this, though.
And actually doesn't look like they're going to be able to get it because Chody Walrus did show up to try to prevent them from taking that. But that still doesn't mean it's not a low health target objective on that map for them to take. The mid first tier turret is super low. The top first tier turret is also super low. So there's a lot of late gold.
Caught right on the corner. Prototype in some trouble. Does get out with his arcane shift just barely. And still just staying a little tense here. Ocean Drake spawned mid-towers want to be the focus for everyone. That's what they're looking for. But Walrus and Saskew may be on the way to do a little Drake slaying.
Yeah. I think, like I was saying before that kind of ended up happening, is there's a lot of latent gold left on the map here for RMU to pick up, right?
Sure.
There's the 2 towers. They can rotate and take those. There's a lot of minions that they've been able to
So much of their
salvage.
jungle is up.
Right. So there's a lot of gold on the map for them to take and kind of get going along with that. But we also have to take a look at Maryville. Maryville has been playing very well so far. They have a very good CS lead in the mid lane and a pretty good CS lead in the bot lane. They're really only suffering at the top. And this is just a very classic story that we see pretty often here.
Yeah, Cat God gonna get out of that one in one piece. Yet again, somehow every time manages to get out. Okay, Chody Walrus still blinking just a tick there. Doesn't want to stick around too much longer. We'll have to back off.
Took a lot of damage from West Coast Carry there, rotating from that bottom lane and going up there. And it does look like they're going to be able to take this turret.
Yeah, that thing's donezo. So good on RMU for the group up, taking it with just a handful of minions and can-do attitude. That's all they needed. that and believing in themselves.
That's right. Hey, actually, that's the interesting thing. They're playing the Super Galaxy Rumble skin.
Yeah.
If anybody's an anime fan, Gurren Lagann top. Oh man, I can't actually say the name. It's really long, but one of the key lines in that anime. Hang on.
Oh, Bucksack misses the arrow, and that's gonna hurt. Prototype gonna pick that one on through. Mordio's there for the defense, so shouldn't be any more kills coming out from that one. Papa Chow, not the one that you want to give the kill over to, but not gonna hurt either, right?
Right, exactly. And especially since it's Papa Chow, let it happen.
Right, yeah. He's just
Let it
gonna
happen.
he's gonna take it anyway. You don't give Papa Chow anything. It's his.
He takes what he wants. And oh yeah, so back to my anime.
Gurren
knowledge.
Lagann.
Right, yeah. So
My
Gurren
roommate's
Lagann.
like freaking out right now.
Oh really?
I'm sure, yeah. He's the biggest Gurren Lagann fan.
Yeah. So they base the skin off of Gurren Lagann because they have mechs and stuff like that. But one of the biggest lines in the anime is "Believe in the me that believes in you."
I kind of get it.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
I'm there.
And so when you were just talking about all they had to do was believe in themselves.
Yeah,
you know?
I dig it.
Believe in the fans that believe in them.
No joking, though. A positive mindset is so big in
It
League
is.
of Legends.
Especially in these long 3-game series, especially
yeah.
against very hard opponents. Three games is slogging.
I think something about that, we take esports so seriously. Papa Chow gonna go down for this one when the tick comes through, but Cat God's on the reversal. Chody Walrus in and finds it from downtown. Can he get out, or will Mordio take it? Mordio's got the kill there. He's not done yet, but Saskew with a great re-engage. Prototype not gonna make it out of this one alive. Can they get out? It's gonna be Cat God likely going down. No tower to retreat to. Saskew just trying to do some damage control. And likely will be the last one down. It's an ace taken away.
Dang.
Favor Robert Morris University. Biggest point. Bucksack, the carry, left alive, can hammer away at this tower.
Yeah, that's huge. And West Coast Carry actually does have a fair bit of kills on himself already. He does have that Zanya's Hourglass as well. So he is very, very strong. He can take a lot of the damage that Ezreal throws out on the chin right now, as well as some of the damage that's going to be able to come out from Chody Walrus.
Yeah.
So that actually is very important considering how big West Coast Carry was in that fight. Not only did the Equalizer come down and do a ton of AoE damage towards the rest of, towards all of Maryville, but it also, when he went in and he flashed in, he had his Flame Spitter up, and that did just a ton of AoE damage.
Right.
And
Really just chipped right on through him.
Right, and that's huge.
I think so. I'm in full agreement.
And so we actually do have Baron live right now, so we are going to be able to, we are probably going to see a lot of vision control coming out from both sides surrounding this Baron. The number of control wards that Maryville just had in that one section of the river was actually
Everywhere. Yeah, it's
they had
ridiculous.
3. They had 1 at the entrance from the mid lane, and they actually had 2 up by the river entrance from top. But then they also had 1 in the tri-bush near top. So they had 80% of the control wards that they could have on the map just surrounding that topside river.
Oh man, well, mid lane tower should be taken out. Don't think there are going to be too many repercussions to this unless Maryville decides to just get on some overstay life, but unlikely. Mordio is over the wall, and it's actually Prototype caught out by yet another arrow. The Shen ultimate is there. Stand United won't save him this time, though. Likely going to go down. Saskew finds by Pinksnow and Vladimir. Huge damage dealer not in the fight. Who knows how it's going to turn out with Cat God running right over the wall. Goodbye, Bucksack. Equalizer says hello. We're coming in. West Coast Carry wants to find this. Saskew likely trading his life to get his team out of this one. There is no flash for West Coast Carry, and that will likely mean a 2 for 2. But a tower advantage comes in for Maryville, and we're all square on gold.
Yeah, being able to balance out onto gold for Robert Morris University is actually very big for them because they have been playing on their back foot almost a little bit here for the last couple minutes.
Yeah.
And I actually do feel like I need to level a little bit of criticism towards Prototype. This is not the first game today that we've seen Prototype get caught out quite a few times in a bad position. And that's, I mean, even if he gets hit by the enchanted crystalline arrow coming out from Bucksack, you just have to be so careful. Like, there's no reason for you to be playing in the front of your team if you're playing Ezreal.
No.
He has one of the longest, lowest cost mana pokes in the entire game in the form of his Mystic Shot.
Yep.
I say that every time I see Ezreal play because it's such a big part of his kit, having that Mystic Shot available to him. It allows him to play so safe, especially if he keeps getting picked off like that. You can still do damage from the back of your team because at this point he has it all the way at level 5. Every time he lands it, it decreases the cooldown by 1 second because of the way his passive works. So there's there's a lot of options available to him in terms of staying safe and still doing damage without being in the very front of the team.
Right, you don't need to arcane shift in just to get the last little pop off.
Right.
It's like the old Tristana days. Rocket jump is strictly for engaging.
That's how I feel about Corki's Valkyrie. I only use it to get in range to kill the enemy.
Oh my goodness. Well, we do have a Mountain Drake actually live. That would be a huge pickup for either of these teams with their AD. Got the split push coming in from CatGod, but not going to be able to channel the teleport super quickly. They do have some good wards if they want to pull this one through, but I think the tower is the primary focus. They're just tiptoeing around this fight. Prototype finally using it defensively, and it's actually Chody Walrus getting the dragon, but he trades his life for it. Binks is in the middle of them all. Saskia gonna die yet again. Papa Chow and Prototype now not gonna likely make it out. It's just Prototype. But I do believe the Kassadin split push is the focus target here because he's found one tower. Yeah, he's got such a huge wave. With that Mountain Drake that they just accrued, look at what he's doing. He's got the Mountain Drake, he's got the Lich Bane. He's eating this tower for breakfast. He's got to get on that inhibitor because it's a Baron started up by the side of Robert Morris. They're trading pressure for pressure across this map. The side of Maryville has to go now to stop this Baron. I don't even know if they can get there in time.
They're not going to be able to. I think they just completely called off CatGod to try to stop it. He would just gone in and died anyway. We do see that Prototype is going to try to go in, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't have True Shot Barrage up to try to steal it.
Can they get a flank? Can they get anything? Mordio, maybe. There's already one member back. They did split up the Dream Team, so it's 3 members now. And CatGod is there. Can he find the members? Get the Baron off of him. It's 1. Can it be 2? Bucksack is likely on the ropes here. The Redemption will keep him out just a little longer, but Prototype's here. West Coast carry should be enough to get the rest of his team out safely. It's a 1 for 2, but they did take away Baron from 2 critical members. Binks and Bucksack are going to be huge. Now it's only on Evan and Mordio in the 1 lane, and likely, I'm assuming, West Coast carry going to be in another split pushing.
Maybe. The interesting thing is that RMU is doing a much better job of fighting around West Coast carry in terms of his teleport on this Rumble than we've seen before. And so I think that it's possible that they do fight, that he does go and split push, but they have to be very careful about how they time their teleports and time their fights without telegraphing it too highly to Maryville. Because when Maryville knows a fight's coming, 1, they either back off, or 2, they engage even harder than you were expecting, and you have less members than you expected when you teleported in.
They double down on it. Next wave should be all it takes for this tower. Things held together by excitement at this point. Likely going to get chipped out pretty soon, but the Baron minions are very hard to push through, as well as the wave clear from some of these champions, and so they have to play it safe, and it's just buying time on the side of Robert Morris for Binks to really start resetting a lot of this wave. It's not going to reset because of the super minions, but the more damage control and the more he can keep it off of his towers or his waves, the better his team is going to do in a macro sense.
Yeah, and that is exactly true, because if this wave keeps crashing down onto them, that's going to put Robert Morris into a lot of
Ooh, arrow connects. Yeah, Papa Chow in a little bit of trouble, but does stay alive, relatively healthy. Saskia is in on this one. Still not as tanky as he'd like to be. West Coast buffed up, jumping right in. Chody Walrus trying to get some protection down with the safeguarding over, but Papa Chow's out anyway. Walrus is going to be in some trouble too. It's a double kill coming out. Both kills to Bucksack. Don't think they can push through the tower here. I'd be surprised.
Not with the amount of damage that Prototype is able to put out on this Ezreal. So that was actually really, really bad. So Kassadin is going to be here to be able to do some damage to this turret.
Yep.
But CatGod was not at all part of that fight. He got zoned out so heavily. There was no way for him to flank, no one for him to do damage to, and so he just kind of had to run away. Yep. Like I was watching him I was watching his teleport that whole time. He was just never able to get into the fight. And so if Kassadin can't fight, like it's basically a 4v5 always, and that's not great for Maryville.
No, not a bit.
And I think if Robert Morris is able to keep zoning out that Kassadin, they're going to be a lot safer in their engages, because Bucksack is doing such a good job of landing these crystalline arrows onto key targets that they need, at least for good engages. And then West Coast Carry does an excellent job of following up with very well-timed equalizers that do a lot of damage right now, because he's basically just building all magic penetration. He's got Leandries for that 15. He's got the Zhonya's, which doesn't provide any magic penetration, but he has the Void Sap, which does, I believe, 35% of the magic, 35% of that magic penetration that an enemy has. That's just so much.
Really stacked out, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you look at Shin, who already has that Spirit Visage, and he is building he's also got that Raptor Cloak as well.
Tensions are building between these two teams. 28 minutes here on the board, and no clear lead established. Actually, usually by the time you get into the 40s and 50s in gold, someone's 5 to 10K gold behind.
Yeah, this is so this is gonna. I'm anticipating some very highly contested fights here coming up.
Yeah, a little bit behind on this. We can hear the players shouting from stage, so it sounds like a little bit of action is just 3 short minutes away. Thank you for your patience.
So the other thing that we can talk about to kind of fill the time here is we actually do see that the super minions are still spawning down into this top lane turret, and it is a collapsible point
yeah,
for
Prototype's
Maryville.
in on it. He wants to find it. That is a good Zonias, and will buy the time that West Coast needs to get out in one piece. But Maryville with some advantage in their rotational play. Now the inhibitor should be popping back up any second now, and so they're going to have to figure out where to make the moves. It's a good tower takeaway just to help patch things along there. And yeah, there's the inhibitor notification in the next 5 to 10 seconds. That thing should be popping up right as rain with the super minion waves. No longer a factor for RMU to have to worry about.
And something that I actually do want to talk about as well is with all this pressure that was being applied in the top lane with the super minions and having to kite away from fights and things like that, they've done an excellent job of establishing very good ward control, at least in the bot side, until about 20 seconds ago when Maryville started clearing it all out. There was very, very good ward control coming out there. And so I think it's extremely important it's an extremely important note to see that RMU has done an excellent job of maintaining decent ward control throughout the series, or throughout this first game.
That's going to be Fire Dragon number 2 taken away. Just put in the pocket, and so the Dragon game strictly in favor of Maryville. They're winning in terms of most big objectives. 4 dragons, 3 towers up, gold, and just a little bit behind in the kill game, but nothing too bad. CS, actually, that's a fun thing to touch on because you have some very big discrepancies, right?
In different lanes across different players, right? So like in the top lane, you've got West Coast Carry, who is playing that Rumble. He's got, 57 CS up, 54 CS up now on Saskio. In the jungle, though, it's in favor of Mordio, who's got 40 CS, but in favor of Cat God in the mid lane, it's 65 CS?
It's a lot.
And 21 CS in the ADC role. I mean, it's just kind of all over the place. And one thing that we've praised these teams for at both sides is, oh wow, huge catch by
Connect on the crystalline arrow. Mordio's in. Papa Chow does have to stand united, but it's not enough. The redemption's down onto this one too. Chody Walrus has to get out. Prototype might not get out. He's gonna go down. It's the double kill coming out. West Coast Carry has that one, and we've got maybe a 1v1 coming out. Cat God versus Gillette. And it looks like it's gonna go over to Buy Pinks.
Wow, that is...
The Zonias from Cat God's only gonna buy him some
Oh
time.
my
Buy
gosh.
Pinks takes the kill, and that's huge for Robert Morris.
Well, that's the annoying part. That's the annoying part about Vladimir. If you do not kill him on that first time you burst him, and by the time the Hemo Plague finishes its burst, he's going to heal for so much health that all that damage that you did just doesn't matter. Like, it's completely irrelevant. And so
That's
I think,
an inhibitor.
Yeah, that's going to be the inhibitor down. It's going to open up that base for the side of RMU. And actually in the bot lane, because Bypinks did win that fight, he is going to be able to push in onto that bot lane turret, take that first tier down, and that does give Robert Morris some breathing room, not only in the bot lane and the mid lane, but actually a little bit in the top lane to be able to at least be flexible and put some wards out and make sure that Baron doesn't get snuck away from them.
I think so. That's going to be a really good pickup across the board. And so they've got now a ton of tools at their disposal to start ending this game, should they try now to start capitalizing on this lead.
And that's the one thing I think that we really point out about some of the best teams that we watch is how do they take this lead, this little inch that they're given and turn it into a mile?
How do you close the gap?
Right, because a lot of teams do it differently. Some of them do it by crushing down towers. A lot of teams do it by doing team fights and then crushing down towers. And so from from my perspective, where I've seen RMU is they like to do, pretty much like to do a split push and force the enemy team to decide what it is that they want to do. Right? Like, do you play our game and try to counter us, or do you not play our game and we still kind of get to do what we want to do anyway? And so that's really important. And the good news, at least for Maryville University, is that Saskio does have that stand united up here in about 10 seconds, along with his normal teleport. So he does have at least a little bit of extra flexibility in what he can do. However, in that last fight, Prototype got deleted so fast that even though Saskio used that stand united, he couldn't be a part of the fight.
Right.
It's like whenever you use Shin ult and your target dies that you're protecting, you're just kind of standing there like, well, crap. What do I do? I'll walk there. That's what I'll do. I'll walk there. But then you get there and the fight's over, and then you just might end up dying because you're so far behind.
Right. It was not the ideal situation. Saskio wanted just to save his carry. You cannot protect that well. So all this burst coming off primarily, you've got the excellent equalizers coming out from West Coast. Mordio on that Kha'Zix as well has been such a huge factor, jumping in on every single one of these players. And so top to bottom, it's pretty stressful position to be in. I like that they've gone for the ZZ Rock portal here.
That at least gives them some flexibility in having some giving them some flexibility, allowing them to at least keep lanes from pushing in too heavily down on them, and giving Saskio at least a little room to breathe.
I think that's absolutely right. Well, we're constricting around this. It's getting a little tense now for the side of Maryville. They've been playing on the ropes the last few minutes. They've lost the gold lead that they had, only marginal. They're still up in the towers, but Robert Morris is here. They catch yet another Crystal Arrow. Papa Chow gonna go down. Likely the heals do keep him alive for just a little bit, but they were only buying time. Chody Walrus on his way out. The redemption just means that this charge keeps on going. Prototype nowhere near, just running down the mid lane actually into some super minions. So trying to get that away from his base, so if they do need to contest the Baron, they're not having their towers shredded.
Right, and here comes the Baron that you were talking about that they might have to contest. However, Chody Walrus is so far away, and this Baron is going so fast.
You have to work out a fight somewhere in here. Yeah, Cat God over the wall soon. No, not taken away. Is going to be Mordio getting it. Cat God now pops back over the stand. United might just get him out of here alive. There's so much DOT on him.
Wow.
Prototype, not where you want to be. Have to get out of that one. And there's still 4 members alive. They can buy some time for Papa Chow just spawning. But that's all 5 members now of the side of Robert Morris, Baroned up and ready to go.
Man, this is going to be really hard for Maryville to try to get themselves out of this situation. I mean, they were doing such a good job of hanging in there, but Robert Morris actually has just they got, and they're very much like an anaconda to me.
Yep.
You know, they like start to coil up slowly. They start constricting just a little bit more, and you just slowly are having a hard time of getting where you want to go and breathing and moving because they've got so many wards out. They've got the information. They're getting the picks. They know where to go because you're in the opposite direction.
And now they've got their eyes set on the Elder Drake.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, this is the thing, is like Maryville has to fight them here if they want to have a chance of surviving. But like if you do fight here, you're in an awful position. And
yeah, you can weather one of those storms, but Baron and the Elder Drake, that's just rough.
We've seen it done before, but I mean, it's extremely difficult to do. And the trick is that like Cat God is not having a great time of trying to engage onto the backline or get a pick on literally anyone from the side of Robert Morris.
Still, it's wild to me now that the side of Maryville are the ones that want to be aggressive here. They want to be in everyone's face, just taking it to them. But look at that Ashe ultimate. Cat God does get picked up. It's a great equalizer as well. Cat God has nowhere to go. Evan RL finds the kill. They're going in. It's another jump reset from Mordio. Can he find more? He's continuing to push this one out. Prototype, Saskio, Papa Chow all on the run for their lives. Who's it gonna be? Saskio's gonna go down next. Papa Chow, it's a triple kill thus far. And they're aced.
Wow,
this is done. Saskio, he's going to get out, actually.
Yeah, that was very good by Bugsec. He did an excellent job of threading that crystalline arrow directly onto the target that he needed to hit. Cat God just got stuck in an unfortunate position. Even though that redemption landed, there just wasn't a whole lot that they could do about it.
No, that's definitely going to be game number 1. Saskio cannot hold this base, and Robert Morris comes out swinging in the first game of the finals.
Yeah, that was a very good play by them, and I'm super excited to see where this game 2 goes. Very, very well done. Game 1 goes over to Robert Morris University.
Not what we expected. around some of the time that Maryville was making the leads, getting the 4 dragons,
Yeah.
doing well. But I believe at one point, Robert Morris had them 13 kills to 11.
It was,
And then they didn't drop a kill from there. They came into the 30 some odds with their kills. Can't see it on the screen there.
it was quite a few.
They had a lot of kills.
Yeah,
and they held Maryville just there at 11.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part, right? Like, Maryville did a very good job of trying to weather the storm, but RMU was playing so dominantly, and their team fights were so clean.
Oh.
And with Cat God not being able to actually participate in the fights,
Oh, it's ridiculous.
like there's nothing you can do. If one of your primary damage dealers isn't even there, what do you do about it? Absolutely nothing.
It was such an uphill battle for Prototype
Yeah.
the remainder of that game. So we actually got really excited, too, to see the Ezreal come out for him.
Right.
And just wasn't as potent as he needed it to be. I think the Ashe was the all-star pickup for Robert Morris University.
Yeah.
Putting that onto Buckzak, just letting him roll through with that, every arrow connected and made an impact on the fights. That guy
Yeah.
was on fire, just magical. Magical.
It was very good. He was able to thread the needles on those. Like, Saskio didn't do a great job of standing in front of his back line to try to absorb anything that would come through.
No.
But that's also because Saskio had to deal with West Coast Carry, who was just kind of all over the place and trying to keep people away. So
I think West Coast Carry, with some of those equalizers, was another huge highlight. Robert Morris knew the composition they wanted. They drafted it with very little to no hesitation.
right.
And then just steamrolled right through. Once they were able to find out how Maryville was playing and how they wanted to play then in response using the composition that they had, the game opened up for them instantaneously.
And that's really the trick, right? I mean, that is it. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about that. And since I don't have anything else to say, are you good?
I'm good.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to set up for game number 2 of the finals between Robert Morris University and Maryville University. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere.
and getting ready to get into game number 2 between Robert Morris and Maryville. These two teams just met on the fields of justice. Robert Morris coming away with the 1-0 up in this best-of-3 series. They now stand one game. One 30 to 50-minute game, assuming. Away from being the Midwest Campus Clash champions at the inaugural Midwest Campus Clash.
That's right. This is going to be an extremely exciting game because I feel like Maryville is actually a little bit upset with their performance in that last game.
How could you not be?
Because you did actually, you were doing very well during those first initial about 20 minutes of that game, and then Robert Morris
just started to fall apart.
Just like over and over, just like very Anaconda-y of.
Yep, it was pretty rough. Either way, we'll see what they can do now to change it up, get themselves back into the fold of things, because they still have one last chance here, and then one last chance. Assuming that they make this one last chance happen.
Right, if they make this one last chance happen, they have another last chance to win a sweet, sweet trophy and
$15,000. Right.
Very, very cool.
It's a ridiculous amount of money.
That's amazing.
Given away here. So far, nothing much changed. If they do roll through with the NAR ban, will be steady. No, is Vladimir taken away. I like it. We'll see if West Coast Carry actually opts now to first pick the NAR. Vladimir, keep in mind, was their first pick.
Yep.
Or do they roll it back to Lulu again? Ash, also huge pickup throughout that, so.
Yeah, those are very big pickups. Does West Coast Carry opt to get the Rumble again? He's so destructive.
Nautilus.
No, he opts for the Nautilus. It sounds like they, just based on this, they want a much heavier tank line than just the Rumble. Because West Coast Carry did very, very good on that Rumble, did an excellent job of putting a lot of damage down, and was able to actually help pick his team up and kind of drag them across the finish line for some of these fights with the amount of damage he was putting out.
Absolutely. Well, I do like this. They still opt for the Karma, not wanting to go on the Lulu for Papa Chow, but Gragas for Chody Walrus, assuming, could be Saskio, but more than likely going to be going over to Mr. C Walrus here.
Yeah. And
it's a better fit, I think. They needed some more tank in that.
They did, because the Lee Sin damage wasn't coming out like they needed to make that kind of effect. To reasonably argue that the Tiamat was worth the investment coming out of that Lee Sin. And I just feel like it didn't pay off. If Varus being locked in for Buck, Zach, and Mordio is hovering that Elise, and that will be picked up by Mordio. So in that last round, we got that Elise and Varus, both two very good picks. And we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if they decide to pick up the ADC and top laner in this rotation and save that last pick mid laner for Cat God. But
nope, they can just grab the Orianna. I feel like that's on the table always. You never lose anything last picking Ori. It's not. It's odd. They are just going to save this one for the top lane, which likely means they've got an ace up their sleeve. Saskio, one of the most talented players on that roster, right?
Yeah,
this guy's so good, high challenger, all the time.
Well, that's the interesting thing is a lot of these players not even on the side of Maryville, but also on the side of Robert Morris. Several challenger and very close to challenger master tier players coming from both. So these are very highly skilled teams. And so I'm curious to see what Saskio does decide to do with this team comp. I'm not entirely sure what they're running to draft just yet. With the Gragas, with the Sivir, with the Orianna,
they have to show something here, right? Do they go for Cassio? It's been something that they've done quite often in the past. Cassadin pulling that one through. Cass or Cass, whichever.
Played that very well.
Yeah.
Lulu being locked in for the support.
No surprises there.
To help out Buck Zach there. Yep, Cassadin is going to be locked in. And I'm curious to see what free Papa Chow is going to grab for Saskio in that top lane.
They know the composition that they're going up against. It's only now a matter of finding their last tool to take into battle. There will be
it does look
disconnected.
Yeah, I don't know if it was disconnected or maybe it's just like, hey, we're declaring our last pick and Chow doesn't have the champion.
Right, we're gonna hear about that.
Fiora.
Yes, it looks like it's going to be Fiora, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, reading in the chat, Prototype did say Fiora is going to be picked up for Saskio and that top lane into West Coast Carries.
I want to turn.
Yep, they're just running through the bans as quickly as they possibly can.
If I was them, I'd be anxious to get into this game too. I don't care about who I'm banning out.
I'm angry.
I know what the enemy team comp is.
I will wait
and
for
we are
you
just
to
short
be better.
3 minutes and 60 seconds getting into this other things.
Well, if we look at the hidden message, it does seem that the side of Maryville
Oh, it's
spelled
ADC.
out ADC.
Oh, Prototype. Did you make them do that?
Prototype maybe saying something. I don't think he's quite comfortable in his performance against Buckzek. Now, the Sivir into the Varus is always an interesting matchup. Keep in mind, they did, I believe, yes, they drafted Sivir in their second round of the draft, which is pick 3 and 4.
Right.
Which means they already knew about the Varus here.
Yeah.
So Prototype, that's his decision to go, and he knows it's likely the Lulu or possibly a Zyra. Shouldn't be too afraid of either, just because of the built-in spell shield, as well as some Karma shielding, as well as an Ori shield. If Prototype can't make something happen this game, then he never would have been able to in any circumstances, because this is the composition that you want to play this Sivir into.
He's playing very, very safe. Like, he's got the spell shield. He's got 2 shields coming out from both Karma and from Orianna. So there is a lot of safety available to him. And then along with that, Fiora actually using the Sivir ultimate to just basically run at them. She can pop her ult. She can get onto low health targets. But there's also the issue of the Kassadin.
Right.
Pinks played that Kassadin extremely well.
It was against Columbia College?
Yes, against Columbia College, he played that very, very well. He was able to just make the late game plays happen like he needed to. And so it almost feels like Pinks, Gillette was just kind of like, yo, West Coast, I'm going to take this from you today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help carry the team this time.
Ready to go. Well, now it is the double teleport coming out for the side of Robert Morris. Cleanse on to Cat God. Gonna play that one with some respect on that champion. You got to. There's so much. There's the Chain of Corruption coming out from Varus. There's the Cocoon coming out from Elise. Dredgeline coming out. How does that interaction work? If you cleanse Dredgeline, can you just cleanse it anytime it's channeling?
I actually don't know about that because Dredgeline it's not a status, I don't think, right?
I'm thinking of the Nautilus Ultimate. I'm sorry, not the... Is it Depth Charge? Is that the name?
Charge,
yeah, okay. Been a long day. I had it backwards.
It's all right. I actually don't know if the Depth Charge does get cleansed out in its travel distance from where
Right.
Nautilus
That's what I would
drops it.
assume is how that would work. But
I wouldn't think so because it's not like an active CC or status that's assigned to your champion, right?
Okay.
So you can't cleanse away something that doesn't technically exist until it hits you. Does that make sense?
I get it, yeah. It's just, since it's an on-click,
Right.
I wonder if it's technically assigned at that point.
Yeah,
or...
well, see, that's the thing. I actually don't know, but hopefully we get to see the interaction so West Coast Carry can clear this up for us.
Yeah, hopefully this is, hopefully Cat God knows.
I
That would
really-
be unfortunate if he were going into this situation unaware.
Yeah, I really just want like West Coast Carry to just kind of like scuba suit his way into lane, throw down a dredge line, just hook himself close enough to Cat God to use the depth charge.
Yep.
And then Cat God's just like, nope, cleanse, and then we can know. That way we'll know.
Indeed. I like it. I like the Fiora coming out from Saskia. Seems like a pretty hidden pocket pick, something that they wouldn't pull out unless they were in trouble. But that is... I talk about the in case of emergency break glass. They've broken the glass. They're pulling out the Fiora.
Yeah, I actually think that we have seen Saskia play Fiora before.
Maybe.
Because I feel like he carried that super, super well. We're going to bust out our
Yeah.
super helpful...
Go ahead and
notebook.
cover for a second, because I got the notes in here somewhere.
Yeah, it helps being prepared every now and then. So the interesting thing is, if we haven't seen it, we have seen at least the Nautilus and the Fiora being played before. So Fiora does do very well into Nautilus, in my opinion, because not only is she able to use her riposte to block the dredge line or the depth charge and then get a stun off of it, she's actually also able to use those vital points, which are her passive, where she can dash, break those, do true damage in terms of health, on top of basic AD damage, using that to scale up. So I think that is that's actually a very cool interaction, especially with how tanky Nautilus gets, being able to just bust those vital points, constantly using the Fiora lunge. It's something that you can do.
Well, stats confirm this is the first time that we're seeing Saskia play Fiora in a
All right.
competitive CSL match. We had Jace, Camille, Maokai, Yasuo, Renekton, Nautilus, and Shen. But not a Fiora, not yet.
Not yet, okay. So I guess it must have been another Fiora that I saw. Thank you for clearing that up, Kyle. I appreciate your help.
He's got a lot of champions. That's a diverse pool.
He does, and I think it was there's been several people that we followed throughout the CSL season where these guys have just kind of played a variety of champions. Like Free Papa Chow actually is very consistent about the champions that he chooses to play.
Right.
He always plays the Lulu, he always plays the Karma, and maybe the Zyra if neither of those are available to him.
Dark Seal buy right off the bat for Kassadin. Just the Doran's ring in the hands of Oriana. No surprises there. A couple biscuits to boot for each of them. One more over to our dear friend, Pinks. I heard from Drake, the coach of RMU, that he changed his name to Pinks to remind himself to buy Pinks.
Right, which is funny because they're no longer pink wards, they're control wards and they're red. Shameless
Buy
on
reds.
you, Gillette. Have you no shame
Tisk tisk.
for not knowing the names of items in this
That's a
game?
strict finger wagging. That's what you get. You're gonna get a talking to.
Dude, if only it was the teacher Fiora skin, then you could go like whack him with the ruler.
We're not trying to get down any roads we don't want to come back from.
Oh no, not like this.
Not like this at all.
So in other news, very basic start coming out from both teams. Honestly, there's not even any kind of form of a deep ward really coming out for either of them. We do see 2 wards there in the bot side, one guarding the entrance into Maryville's jungle, but then one also guarding the entrance to the river coming out from Maryville. So
I think it's pretty important because you don't want to give away your level 1 start at this point.
Yeah.
The early gank from Gragas, the early gank from Elise, both pretty important. Elise just a little bit better early before Gragas really starts to get going with his level 6 and his ultimate. But regardless of that, if you give away that information early, that can set you back a long way.
It can, and you're not wrong with that, to be honest, because he does have his Q available to do a lot of damage early. He can flash body slam. We've seen it happen several times this tournament. Flash body slam into a barrel roll. Does all kinds of damage combined with having the damage of Prototype and Free Papa Chow. Combined with that, Chody Wallace would have a very easy time ganking that lane just because of how aggressive those two players are. However, it's important to note that the aggressiveness of Prototype actually bit him very badly in the butt that last game.
Yeah, he just ran right up and gave himself over a couple times, but has a bit of a fallback with Sivir. You talked about no buttons that are pretty good if you're trying to get out of a situation you may not want to find yourself in. Saskio, that level 2, going in on the West Coast carry, actually. He's just going to chase it down. Is he going to force a flash out? Is he going to get a kill? He's going to flash in for it. He wants it. This is first blood for one of them. Woo! And it is going to be Saskio taking that one away. West Coast carry going down on the stage for all to see. But here's Mordio. Can Saskio get out in time? No, that's a return kill. So it's at least 1-for-1. Good call to get the pickup kill back in there. Only a 200 gold difference, 300 if you're pinching the pennies there.
Yeah, so actually that was a very decent buy for Fiora. Saskio was able to go back, pick up a longsword, get a control ward, and get a couple of pots just because of being able to secure that first wave. Yep. Saskio did burn his teleport to get back into lane a little bit faster. Prototype walking out actually directly in front of Bucksack and Evan RL, and I think Evan RL got a little excited. Was like, oh, here he comes. I'm gonna unite him. And he united him, and nothing happened.
Evan's proven 3 or 4 times throughout this tournament that, like, if you get close to him, he's gonna make you regret it.
Yeah.
And Prototype, you know how, like,
Oh no.
no, it's
Oh no.
you know how, like, you turn on a light, and then every bug in the house is just like, oh my god, what is that? I just feel like anytime there's a champion with a little bit of damage done to him, Prototype's like, oh, I must get this thing.
I must get closer and try to do more damage.
Evan's just a bug zapper. That's what's going on.
It's actually funny.
Ooh, Chody, however, Mr. Gragas coming in, showing his face. Does force the flash with the body slam. Nice pickup. Worth his time now because flash heal on Varus, the most defenseless AD carry in the league before level 6.
I mean, he's no gen, but
It's just about the same.
yeah, no, I'm just kidding. So that actually is very important because he is 3 levels away from hitting level 6 of having any kind of other disengage for himself. So that is going to be a very big pickup, like you said, taking away that heal flash on Bucksack because that makes that lane so much more gankable because only Evan RL has that flash up. The ignite is even down, so it's not like they have another offensive summoner available to them to do more damage.
Nope, not there. So we may see a repeat here. West Coast carry still in trouble to Saskio. That health bar is going to get chipped out a good bit, but nothing a quick back TP in won't take care of. He does still have teleport advantage, so he probably will opt to just use that now. because
actually-
by the time Saskio gets his teleport off cooldown, Bipix will be pretty damn close.
Yeah, it'll be about half the cooldown of that TP.
Teleported on in.
Yep, he did use, so that's the thing, West Coast Carry did use his teleport there, so that does give Saskio and the side of Maryville teleport advantage, at least for about a minute and a half, a solid minute.
It's not for another 2 minutes, though, that they will have that coming through, so about
Wow.
a 3-minute cooldown on that one.
There's a gank coming in from Chody Walrus on the West Coast Carry, but this doesn't think you'll be able to make anything of it. West Coast Carry did actually, he was able to land that dredge line, pull himself right out of danger. Interesting thing to note, there are a couple of things that you can do with that. So if Saskio gets hit by that dredge line, he can use his riposte to actually stop it from dragging him and just brings Nautilus closer, and then he can stun him. Or Chody Walrus can actually use his Gragas Body Slam to knock Nautilus out of that dredge line animation and stop him from being dragged if he pulls himself into a wall, or actually even a champion. So there's that provides a little bit of a defensive prevention coming out from the side of Maryville in
There's a
case
safety
one
net
of
of
their
sorts.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. In case one of their carries gets grabbed by that Nautilus dredge line, which happens actually a lot more often than anyone would ever really like.
Well, Mordio uses all 8 of his eyes to peek on what's going up in the top lane. Just runs right back around after the tower swats a newspaper at him. He's going to get out.
Tries to swing the newspaper, just misses. There's a time in my life actually where I was really, really bad at trying to kill bugs. And by really bad, I mean I saw one and I would run away.
Yeah, sick, same.
So
Anything with a stinger, I don't mess with.
yo, don't mess with them, man. Don't mess with them at all. And I feel like if I actually feel the same kind of aversion towards Elise, actually.
Yeah, it's-
Just whenever I see her in a game.
Shivers up your spine.
Right, and it's not even that, she's so strong at ganking and she provides so much to the team that I'm just like, I want to avoid you at all costs. Please do not come near me. Not only are you a creepy spider lady, but you also are very, very dangerous and you can kill me.
Unless, of course, it's solo queue and the Elise is on your team.
Right.
In which case it's 1v5 repels into the enemy.
It's like, no, I can get this kill. This is fine. This is fine.
The days.
So, getting off, removing ourselves a little bit from that change because there's not a whole lot of action happening so far. There is some wards out for the side of Robert Morris. They have wards that are actually guarding their buffs, really, except for their blue buff, because Chody Walrus is actually about to go take that away because it's on timer. So if he gets that, that's going to take away that blue buff from Casson that I was talking about. He kind of likes to have that.
He used the vision plant to make sure he's not spotted by any wards or anything, but I think the gank is tempting. He will walk over a control ward, but West Coast Carry is preoccupied in other places, is pulling up to get by Pinks over there. It's going to be in. He's trying to find it, and
Oh
it
my
actually will be ever so slightly getting out for both of those top laners, Saskio and West Coast Carry. Both call their older brothers to beat up their opponent and run away screaming before the fight breaks out.
Also similar to my childhood.
Yeah, same.
I
We
always
need IRL now.
I always ask myself, why do people think that people who are like into esports like to run away from fights? And then I remember that you and I are a casting duo, and I'm like, oh wait, this all makes sense.
Yeah. Oh man.
And so we actually do see a pretty big control, 2 pretty big control wards coming out from RMU now. I was saying that Chody Walrus wouldn't have gotten spotted out by that one control ward had he gone to go and try to take that blue. But now that ward is up, and it does guard that river entrance. So Chody can actually no longer go into the jungle and try to take that away. But then there are 2 other control wards guarding this top river entrance here that are actually very, very important, because that also means Chody Walrus doesn't have a good entry point to go in unless he goes through the dragon pit and then over. But then you have that ward in the tri-bush in that bot side, which actually protects the bot lane of RMU. So they actually have a very good defensive ward line set up to keep themselves safe and make sure that they can at least keep going as business as usual until they decide they want to pull the trigger here.
Right. And I think the biggest flaw with the over the dragon wall plan that you mentioned is it would require either of these teams to acknowledge dragon.
Which, nope. I was going to say they might. It looks like Chody is going to try to take the scuttle to at least get some stuff, but he's not. And instead, he's going to maybe try to get on
he's
Moro.
body slamming over the wall. Mordio could be in trouble here if they use this ball delivery from Cat God. He's actually going to get very low himself, but the repel will mean Mordio's gone down here. And with the jungle off the table, now Maryville has a very clear-cut path to Dragon in front of them, should they so choose. Their mission, should they choose to accept it. Mountain Drake actually a really fun pickup if you are Sivir.
Yeah, that is a fun pickup.
She's already so good at busting out towers.
Right, and I believe she can actually start her bouncing blade off of a tower, so she can throw the first hit the bouncing blade, and it'll go around and be able to clear the minions as well as getting good hits down. Ooh, West Coast carry not able to make anything happen. Saskio
Yeah,
did
good
use that.
riposte to get away. Shouldn't die here, but game pretty close.
Yeah, so the biggest issue there is that West Coast carry actually burned his dredge line to try to get onto Saskio, but since he missed, he had to use his depth charge, and that meant that there was only, like, Saskio only had to worry about riposting one CC coming out.
Yes.
And that's the important part there, especially because not only did he riposte the 1 CC, but he actually was also able to get the stun down onto West Coast carry, so he couldn't even come over and use his Nautilus passive to root him in place. That overall, I mean, it was just
It's
a series
unfortunate.
a series of unfortunate events that just really happened, but very well done by Saskio. Managed to step outside of that.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, being able to step outside of that dredge line and do all the posting and everything we just talked about. Very well done.
Very well done indeed. Saskio, as resolute as he was in this Fiora pick, came through, grabbed it right off the cusp when it was his turn to pick for the last slot of his team. Busting it out of here on the stage, I would expect a little bit more coming out of it. Now, he did get the solo kill under tower early on, and that's huge to me, as well as building up a really nice CS lead. He's just, I think, had the slightest problem transitioning this into anything. Oh, whoa, okay, yeah, hang on. Caster Curse. Chody Walrus is here, a nice flash. I mean, Saskio's got this one. He's out okay. No chance. Chody Walrus picks up yet another kill.
Wow.
And a 1K gold lead. Should be decent bruising for the tower. I think they understand, they know that Elise is low here. They should catch her out on vision, which means that Saskio knows is really under no pressure unless it's going to be a deep TP by West Coast carry.
Yeah.
In which case, nope, the ward just expired. Never mind. GG.
Caster Curse.
This is what we deal with.
Oh,
Evan
wow.
RL flashing in on a prototype. It is going to be the Chain of Corruption trying to connect as well, but not going to be huge. They're going to turn this one around. It is a teleport coming out onto the minion, so West Coast carry would just rather get to that bottom lane and start making waves there. We'll see what all comes of it. Besides, first tower going down. That's going to be credit RMU.
That actually is that's a very big pickup because RMU needs a little something to stay in this game. They are falling behind. Just in terms of kills, they don't have a CS lead in any lane actually. In Maryville is they have a CS lead in the jungle. I'm sorry, but aside from that, they don't have a CS lead for anyone. And actually, I don't think RMU realizes it, but they're standing on top of a ward that actually just expired. So
Yeah, that'll give them the okay.
yeah. So Maryville knows, like, you guys, we're not coming here. What?
Yep.
And they're even trying to sweep it out because they think that something's up.
There might be another ward, right? Oh, man.
Well, man, that's rough.
Wasting time, that is the name of the game. In a game where you min-max, every second is precious, every piece of gold and tick of experience makes or breaks the game, right? League of Legends, a game of inches.
Yeah.
Highly recommend you watch that if you haven't. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a hype video on YouTube. I think it was Season 3 or Season 4 Worlds.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, we'll
really
check that out. So the other interesting thing is, actually, you know what? I forget what I was going to say.
All right.
I'm sorry. I was going to say something else that was interesting, as I find a lot of things in League of Legends interesting, but this one it slipped my mind. I'm sorry.
No problem. I'm interested in the fact, actually, now that Robert Morris took the first tower, but Maryville's still actually doing okay with the gold lead despite it.
Yeah, they're making good moves around the map. It's the thing is that even though Robert Morris was able to secure that gold lead, we do see the gold lead actually falling back in favor of Maryville here because they finally picked up a turret, and so we kind of see the game returning to its normal state before that first tower fell, with about like a 1,000 gold differential between the two teams here. It does look like they might be trying to rotate up and catch out Bugzack here, but it looks like he's going to play it really safe, run back.
Oh, Morio gets caught with a shockwave.
Wow.
That's essentially a solo coming out. Cat God did all the heavy lifting. The assist credit did go over to Prototype, but that's only, I'm pretty sure, because of On the Hunt.
Yeah, I think that was just the Sivir ult being popped to get that assist.
Well, all in all, actually, that sets them up nicely to start sieging out this tower. They have to be so careful because if Bugzack sticks around, yeah, Chody Walrus over the wall. He loves pulling that come around. He's doing okay. Tower should survive just a little longer, but Either way, the full-on lane swap now into this bot lane means we're back at our regularly scheduled programming. Saskio, West Coast carry, slapping one another around. 2 deaths already for carry. Not the game he was having on Rumble last time around. With Rumble up, too. This is what he opted for.
Yeah, and I find that actually to be an odd choice, I guess. Maybe they decided they needed a heavier tank line, but, I mean, it's difficult for me to really swing one or the other. Bucksack getting hit up by Chody Waller.
Yeah, that's at least going to be the flash taken out of this one. Mordio is in a good position, and Prototype is not. He finds the kill, but trades himself for it. And the repel means the chase is on. Chody Walrus running from Mordio. The damage is answered back, though. Shouldn't amount to anything more. We had a potential roam coming out from Bipinks on Kassadin. Would not have been answered, but knew they were already home free for the tower, so we're able to just hold on okay to that one.
That was a very good.
Wow. Bipinks Rift walks in, but it's on to minions. Flashes out the shockwave, so that was the cost of the Rift walk that he used. Got some damage down, but lost his flash for it. Only the shockwave cooldown taken away from CatGod.
Yeah, that actually is really big because CatGod didn't burn any of his summoners to try to take down Bipinks there. Gillette voluntarily went in on him, used that Rift Walk, tried to put some damage down.
Into minions too.
Yeah, and so having command protect up and then the minion damage, CatGod was just able to return damage onto Bipinks, and he was like, oh no, I made a mistake. And since he's only level 11, the cooldown on his Rift Walk is still long enough to the point where it's very dangerous for him to do these prolonged fights. And so you have to burn that flash
there's
really
a teleport
fast.
coming in from behind. With Bucksack privy to this call, is he just going to try to I guess he decided to trade his life for the tower there. That was probably the call. Saskio picking up another kill for it, and I don't love that call because now it looks like Maryville's actually in a pretty good position to try to siege this tower if they want to. There's no support from Bucksack to hold that off. They have West Coast, they have Evan RL, and you know they have Mordio. But out of all of those, the best wave clear is Evan RL. Yeah, the tower's gone. Chody Waller splashing over the wall, ulting to keep himself alive. Really good defensive play coming out of him there, but not so great macro play to get into a position where he needed to do that. Either way, all 5 members of Maryville still alive, still doing fine, and collapsing now into this mid lane, but we have a tale of 2 turrets here, as there is a split push by Pinks. The teleport will be off cooldown in a few short seconds here, but those seconds can make or break the difference. Saskio holding some tower damage. West Coast carry in to try to find the chase. Will they just back off? Keep in mind, we got a flank coming in from Kassadin, but it doesn't matter if he doesn't have a front line to assault.
This is going to be a very dangerous fight. We do see Bipinks going in on that backside, but he does escape. He gets exhausted instantly. Prototype is right on top of him.
Yeah, Saskio's a low health bar, but so is Bipinks. He's going to get the honey fruit just to try to stay in this one. Prototype wants it, finds it. Papa Chow takes the credit. And what else is new?
Prototype flashed for that, and somehow Papa Chow still landed his Q on there to do that damage. Holy moly.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
that actually really sucks if you're Prototype. Because you invested so much to get that kill, and somehow your support with no mana walks away with that kill. Are you kidding me?
Oh, man.
That actually kind of sucks.
little tilted.
I'm not even playing. I'm not either of these players, and I'm a little bit tilted for
Cloud
them.
Drake taken away as a consolation prize, and we have another Cloud Drake up on the docket after this one. Should be right around 24 and a half minutes or so, 24 and a half.
We actually are going to see Baron here come up in a minute as well.
Just 60 seconds.
And that actually is something that we've seen RMU play very heavily around this entire tournament. And even during the regular season, they try to hold on until that Baron comes up, and then that's where the constriction starts, by having such good control across all of the river, so that they're able to have all of that warding pressure available for them. And then you're really just forcing the enemy to play into your hand, because at that point, you know where they are, you know where they're going, so you know if you can sneak that Baron in or not.
Yeah, I don't think too many surprise Barons are going to come through this time.
No, I don't think a surprise Baron will come through, but I think it'll be I think it'll be a little bit of a hard-fought battle for them because there's not a whole lot of towers down, actually, that RMU has taken down. So they're going to have a pretty difficult time trying to do that constriction that we normally see them do. Because without those wards available to know where the enemy is, they're not going to be able to rotate to the towers, do the things that they need to do.
Yeah, I completely agree that it's all about making sure they have the tools at their disposal to make those moves in the first place. In theory, every single one of these players here knows the moves they need to make. It's just a matter of laying the groundwork to allow themselves to do it. And so, sure, we see great things coming out. Bypink's taking away the blue buff here, setting up the ward visions coming around as Mordio's kind of helping to pace that one out. But top to bottom, it's only a matter of execution at this point. It is the siege coming through Maryville in decent enough position, and Cat God found by the Chain of Corruption. West Coast carry on a great flank, actually. Prototype knocked up, but he's not the best target with that spell shield. He should be able to get back out of this one. Will they go in? Bypinks wants to find him. He does. Now Papa Chow on the run for his life. The snare might just save him. The piercing arrow doesn't find him, but Kassadin does. And Bypinks is cleaning house. That's a triple kill for Gillette. Maryville caught with their pants down on that one.
Oh my gosh, well, so that actually was really interesting. One play that we missed at the bottom half of that screen there, bottom quarter, is we did see that Cat God actually, he did use his command shockwave, and he caught both Bugsack and Evan RL very, very well. He got half of them to health, but there's just nothing that they could do. Saskio wasn't able to really get in and do a lot of damage to anybody, and one of your primary damage threats wasn't involved in that fight, and so they got, RMU was able to pick up 2 towers off of that. Now they're going to get that warding pressure that I talked about that they need to
set up around Baron.
Maryville.
Yep, they can set up around the Baron now with these wards. They're clearing out a lot of good vision here, so RMU definitely giving themselves every advantage here in this second game. Keep in mind, this is the ropes. This is where Maryville has to do or die, because if they do not, they are out of the tournament. They are out of that $15,000 check and that glorious trophy.
Yeah, that, I mean, man, that's actually really crazy to me. That's just to see a $15,000 check up front. That's amazing.
I mean, the money's huge, but the pride for me too. That trophy's forever.
Well, and this is actually a huge pride match for both Maryville and RMU, because like we said, these two teams met in the finals. They went to a full game 5, and arguably Maryville should have won a little bit sooner than they did.
Yep.
But RMU was able to hang on, and so now it's a matter of pride for both teams of saying, like, hey, we didn't just, like, you just got lucky that we didn't win that 5th game.
Yeah.
And right now, RMU is looking very, very strong. They're still behind by 2,000 gold, so I'm not saying that they're going to win this game because it's extremely close.
But you're not saying it either.
Right, exactly, because it's so very close. I mean, they're up by a turret, but they're down by 3 kills, and then if you look at the CS, actually, they're down across the board except for in the jungle still.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing a good job of staying in the game very well without being completely caught up in gold.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not too terribly far behind in gold, but you wouldn't even think that they're behind at all, as they've been dictating the pace for the last 5-ish minutes or so.
Right. So it's tricky, I guess, because they have been dictating this pace. It makes me wonder if they're going to be deciding to pick a fight here very soon, because if they do get a good fight picked, they actually might be able to carry that over into another turret, either in the top lane or the bot lane, because we do see that there are minion waves building in both the top and bottom. They give them a little bit more of an advantage. Actually, we do see Saskio is going to be clearing that out, but top lane, that's a way to keep your eye on, because if Cat God does have to rotate up there to try to stop that, that actually gives RMU a little bit of an advantage in terms of looking at this and being able to pick a fight.
It's certainly a dangerous precipice that everyone is towing here, as some objectives are starting to come back up onto the map. We have the Baron Dragon as well. We've seen Immaculate Dragon Control coming out from Maryville this series, but you know, it didn't mean too much for him last game, and this could actually be one of the first Dragon takeaways. There was the Elder for RMU last game, but there was no Elemental Dragon at all. It's going to be a Baron. They're going to start up on Baron for the side of Maryville. They're around there. They've lost the Dragon, so they have to go now. It's only a matter of how much they can keep Bypinks off of them. If they turn, do they try to get this Kassadin? He's a slippery son of a gun. The teleport's channel too. West Coast carry. arrived a little ahead of his team onto that one. He's going to try to turn it around. Prototype right in his face, and that's not where you want to be. Is taken out. They're going to keep going. It's a great shockwave, though. Mordio's caught up with it. Papa Chow trying to do what he can in this fight. Buck Zach going to go down, but not before he finds Cat God. Saskio cleaning house, not afraid of any of these members left alive, and that means the 3 remaining Maryville trio are going to musketeer this Baron on down.
Man, that was very well done, and especially because they have Saskio available, this Baron will be able to go down. I think if it was just free Papa Chow and Chody Walrus left alive, this would have been nigh on impossible. But having Saskio there to help put some damage down is going to be a huge help for them, so they will secure.
I have to levy some criticism if they burst this down over the next 2 seconds. They're not going to. Okay.
Yeah, they're going to wait for Prototype to be
Gotta
up.
wait for Prototype. I don't think they have the
Papa
health
Chow's
bar.
going to take so much damage.
I'm going to levy some more criticism if they're waiting now for Cat God. They can't do that.
You can't. Sometimes you just can't wait for all 5 members. It's just it's too much.
There was no juggling.
So that actually,
Baron?
Yeah, that was Baron. That was not the fight that you wanted if you're RMU. Pinks got put in a very, very bad position. He got too close, got cut off from the rest of his team. All of his team was collapsing on from that mid lane. He was actually running up towards top lane to try to get away, but there was just nothing he could do about it.
No.
I mean, he got in such a bad spot, and he couldn't rift walk over the wall to safety to wait till his team collapsed. And I think that right there is what really caused him to lose that fight, because Pinks got deleted almost instantly. West Coast carry took so much damage early on because he teleported in thinking that Gillette would be alive for those fights, and he wasn't. And it was really, really bad because it just rolled down the line and just wasn't great.
And that's a pretty textbook situation, right? I think that was a huge mistake from Robert Morris, sending, 4 people down to that dragon? It's just a Cloud Drake. Goodbye! Buckzak's gone. Mordio's going to come down and go down simultaneously. West Coast carry now trying to dredge line out of this one. It's a Baron up team. It's a nice knockback, but it's a tanky Nautilus. How far can you go? Well, pretty far now that tower's out. Will be the kill. Credit given over to Cat God for that one. Yet another tower here on the list of things to take away, and they're moving in on it. Saskio joining the fray now. Goodbye to this inhibitor, and a very good wave primed actually here in this bot lane. They're gonna try for it. I don't think they can really shove this one on through. The death timers are pretty quick. Buckzak will be up pretty soon, but at least an inhibitor tower.
Yeah.
And that's a huge takeaway. Saskio's just gonna run right back down to this bot lane tower.
That actually is a very, very big takeaway. Saskio, hang on, Pinks getting on to Saskio. Saskio does not have enough mana to even try to deal with this.
There's really not very much you can do in this situation except try to turn around and fight it out, but against 2 members of the opposing school, it's unlikely that you're going to come away the victor in that situation.
Yeah, that was an extremely close situation for both of them, and so Saskio decided to try to go back down into that lane to empower the minions, try to get some more damage and push down that turtle a little bit farther. Not the most advised thing, considering he does have teleport up, and that wave would have crashed into there, and they would have cleared it out anyway because Buckzak was alive, Pinks was alive. There's a lot of things that they could have done. So Saskio actually didn't need to be in that position at all to try to do that fight. A little bit unadvised, especially after such a great push.
Well, the consequences are being suffered here in real time. Baron, super minions, lane pressure abundant. It's going to turn into, I think Maryville's in a pretty good situation here, much better than they were around the 30-minute mark last game. Now it's just a matter of holding it out. They've got an 8K gold lead, and they're not afraid to use it. West Coast carry, that's not the position you want to be in. He's tanky enough to maybe try to run it out, but is just going to start up a fight which his team has not yet attended. Their RSVP must have gotten lost in a mail. Cat God, though, doesn't care if they show up late, is going to go down. Mordio is here, not in a best position, though, and will be kill number 3 coming out. Maryville took that one away. Evan, chances are not getting out of this one alive. Sorry, buddy.
No. Let him go back. It's fine. No.
I love a little polymorph. Oh, no. It's just some BM body slam. The fail flash in place. That's some disrespect coming through. Baron is expired.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a harder time pushing out the remainder of these towers, but with the Mountain Drake, actually, it's only marginal. Like, how hard of a hard time do you have? You know, they're just brushing this right on down.
Yeah.
Second inhibitor going to come on out of this one.
Right, and they have the super minions from that. Really?
Never really.
Okay, so they're gonna take a break and just kind of back off and maybe go regather themselves, get a couple more items, get set up for this next push to happen here very, very shortly. But RMU, I honestly don't see this game going on for much longer.
Chances are this one is Maryville's. We don't know yet, of course. Anything could happen, but looking like with 2 inhibitors down and a very strong team fight from Maryville throughout. Looking a little grim for Robert Morris here. Good news is there's still a game up in the series. If they lose this one, we go to 1-1, meaning
game number 3, baby.
We'll all come down to that. I'm excited.
I actually feel like every time you start talking about game number 3, I get so excited that I interrupt you when you're trying to be excited.
We can both be excited. That's not a mutually exclusive emotion, my friend.
I don't want to steal your thunder.
Cloud Drake V2. Several games this tournament have had 3 Cloud Dragons, Drakes.
Sure.
It's a very popular one this time around. Gotta love those rotations.
Yeah, it's a very good rotation. Sorry.
Well, it's gonna be great for the Silver team, right?
Yeah, it is.
Ooh, nice catch onto Papa Chow, but we'll see what they can turn it into. Prototype is the target that they actually want, and the shields are there in spades for him. They're coming over the wall by Pinks with the Zonias. Will not be able to do too much. It gets another Rift Walk off the charge, but is not there in time. Buckzak gonna go down. Saskio gonna find him. This is likely it. The good games are gonna be called for this one, as Maryville is going to certainly charge down, certainly take game number 2, and certainly force Robert Morris University into a 3rd and final game here at the Midwest Campus Clash.
Yeah, this is actually going to be really, really exciting. Having that 3rd game is going to be huge. Nothing you could ask for, or nothing better that you could ask for at an inaugural event as large as the Midwest Campus Clash.
How about a fountain dive on Mordio?
It had to be done.
GGMU, GGRMU. This is not settled. This is not done. We have one more game to run here. 1 trophy to grab, 1 $15,000 check to award, and 1 team that will be going home in 2nd place.
Yeah, honestly, though, that's not bad. Like I said, I feel like these players, while they're playing for that cash, there's just so much of the pride involved onto these guys.
Of course.
So this game number 3 is going to be huge for them. I mean, it's just going to be really, really intense. There's a lot that I want to break down about that fight, but it just felt like RMU wasn't RMU at all during that game.
No.
And so Maryville did a good job of, they actually kind of like hit the reset button after that first game. We're like, hang on, guys. And we know who we are. Let's do this.
And you know what? The first game was so RMU, was so, hey, we're having some troubles. Doesn't matter because we're the best. We'll weather this storm. We'll be fine. We create the chaos. We pace it out on our own terms, and then we win on said terms. This time, it felt like even from the draft, just straight out of the jump, they're like, we're going to change things. And it'll be fine. But it wasn't fine.
It wasn't fine.
Nope, not fine.
And like you said, it's a bit surprising that West Coast Carry decided to opt for the Nautilus instead of picking up that Rumble.
Did so well on the Rumble, had the performance. So would not be surprised if in game number 3 we see a little bit of a revitalization now in the draft. It is RMU and their players and their support staff that are going to be using these tools as a learning experience. We'll see if Maryville tries to call this one ain't broke, don't fix it, or if they're going to pivot and pick up the strategy a little later on. Speaking of, though, a little later on, we're going to kick it over to a break, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 3 coming up very soon here. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi guys, KP here. I love watching the championship with my friends and ordering Domino's and Coke just like you.
KP, they're doing Champ Select.
George Crook to the casting desk, please. George Crook, you're wanted at casting. Gentlemen, for the third and final game between Robert Morris University and Maryville University. Robert Morris taking the first in the series. Maryville answering back strong. And it's all coming down to this. One trophy, $15,000, 10 players. And the hype is real.
The hype is very real. And actually this time we have gotten a little bit of a switcheroo in terms of sides. We are going to see Maryville is going to opt to play that blue side instead of the red side.
I believe that's Robert Morris's choice.
Right. Oh, okay.
RMU's
Yeah.
opted. Maryville has been
Yeah,
told
yeah.
that they will be on blue.
Yes. So RMU said, "Hey, we want red," and so now Maryville is on blue. You're right. You got me.
Oh, it's exciting.
The old switcheroo.
They've lost their last pick now. That turned out pretty huge for them in the last run around when they picked the Fiora, right?
Yep.
So threw a wrench curveball into that draft, something that we'd actually not even seen Saskia do on our own CSL stream.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting to see how they kind of deal with the old switcheroo here.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe RMU just was like, hey, maybe if we opt to take red side and throw Maryville for a little bit of a loop.
Do we just surprise them?
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Woo. Well,
Jump scare.
One thing that is not a jump scare is Malzahar being banned out.
Nope, that's been pretty much consistent across the board. Malzahar and Malzahar both banned out in games 1 and 2.
Yeah, if Malzahar doesn't get banned, he gets picked.
Yep.
First round, every time.
I understand. It's so like no matter how badly you do as a support, if you just have
I'm absolutely
Flash R, you're good to go.
I was telling Beckett about that earlier. No matter how useless you are the entire game, as long as you have Flash and Nether Grasp up, you're a useful champion.
Yep. Beautiful, the Vladimir ban as well. No surprises there. Caitlyn off the table. And Thresh, likely what we're going to see last coming out from RMU. Don't want to give that one to Papa Chow, despite not having seen him play it very much. Is widely rumored that he is a young money Thresh prince. Just he's got the skill in spades. It's a Talia ban, no surprises there either.
Sorry, all I can think of when you said that is Mrs. Steal You Girl, and then you think about Thresh's lore where he takes illusions.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
It was like it's too much of a lore joke for you to like not bring it up.
I'm with you. It is funny. I like it.
Until
last ban.
Yeah, until Leah does get banned out, and the Orianna actually is getting taken away from both CatGod and by Pinks.
No, that's huge.
That is.
Because they have last pick that they're no doubt going to be saving for mid lane now.
Right.
Now, it's genius because Maryville cannot draft Orianna as the
As the,
defensive
default
blind.
safety.
Right. So they have to pick something into this entirely blind, not knowing what their mid-laning opponent is going to be. It guarantees a potential for a decent matchup in the hands now of Pinks.
Something that isn't a team comp that's not completely reliant on landing a command shockwave combo.
I'm guessing, actually, this might be an Ari blind pick for Cat God. That would be my biggest assumption here.
It could be it, and we've seen Cat God play so much Ari during this season that it's such a comfort pick for him that I feel like even if somebody picks a complete counter to her, that he's just kind of like, okay, this is fine. I can. This is not ideal, but I can make it work. I can still help my team out and be useful playing this Ari. And we actually haven't even seen any hover picks coming out from West Coast or Mordio. RMU is taking their time discussing the team comp, what they want to do, and even if you're sitting out in the main stage and you're looking at the front, we can see the coach of RMU, Drake. He is talking very heavily with his players. They are deciding what they want to do.
Right.
I mean, this is a big game. This is for $15,000 and for so much pride.
Right,
for
absolutely.
Both
Both of these teams have had such a head-to-head all throughout. So running it through, it's the Gragas taken away for Chody Walrus. He's got that, but the Kazakhs, Mordio played that to such great effect and such impact coming through in the first game where they won. They actually picked that one up pretty quick. I think it was their second round of the draft. It's first round of the draft this time. It's also the Karma denial, so they're likely just putting Papa Chow on Lulu, although they may be trying to bait a Thresh here as well. They banned Thresh games 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Thresh is now open on the table, and they take Karma. Something smells a little fishy there.
This could be. I believe it was MSI in 2015 when it was SKT versus EDG, if I remember correctly, in the MSI finals. And it was when Faker was playing LeBlanc to great effect, and they actually left the LeBlanc open, baited him into the pick, and then they picked Alistair, and he was just completely useless the entire game.
They broke the god streak of Faker's LeBlanc.
Right, and so for me, it's just every time I feel like there's some kind of switchy bait going on. That's all I think of because that was so well played, and I would not be surprised if RMU was doing something similar, trying to bait out a couple of different things from them.
Well, it's not going to be the Thresh.
Yeah, it's not going to be the Thresh or the Zyra. We do see Varus. I'm sorry. It's not going to be Thresh.
Because it is going to be Zyra, right.
Right, exactly. So Varus and Zyra are going to be the two bot lane for Prototype and Free Papa Chow. Bucksack looking like he's going to hover that Ashe again. He played that so freaking well.
Yeah, I think he's got to lock it in here. It's going to be huge for him just because that Ashe and Kazakhs combo was huge, so big for them in the first game, and a Rumble as well, actually, would not surprise me at all if they lock this in and just try to steer toward the same composition with Karma instead of Lulu. Ooh. But Kassadin does still seem to be the pick. That's interesting because you would have thought they would have saved last pick for their mid laner, but they don't want to pick top blind.
That's actually not super surprising because we do know that West Coast carry really does actually like to carry. He likes to play those carry champions, and so leaving him for last and just trusting Pinks that he's going to do better on Casta in this game than he did last game, and make it more reminiscent of when RMU played against Columbia College a round ago. I think that is what they're trying to do here, and so leaving a top lane carry available for West Coast where he can know what he's going into. Even if it's something standard, he's at least making the right decision for what he sees on the opposing side from Maryville.
I agree. Maryville running the clock out here.
Yeah.
They want to be careful. The more time they can deny, the less opportunity is going to be on the table for RMU. We have the Irelia.
And Talon is being locked in that mid lane. Oh gosh.
Okay, this is AD City.
This is straight AD City. But the good news is Free Papa Chow takes all the kills away from Prototype.
Right, just get fed as Zyra.
Yeah, then you have an AP in your bot lane. This is fine.
Oh boy.
This is fine.
That's going to throw a wrench in things. We did see the Irelia banned a little earlier on. Maybe it was Columbia College. Maybe it was Grand Valley. Trying to remember. Yeah, Grand Valley in their first game against Maryville here banned out the Irelia. They didn't want Saskia play in that one. When they realized they probably wouldn't play him because he was just going to beat it without him anyway, they dropped the ban and I think switched over, had a better strategy. But this time around, yeah, they've brought in the Irelia. Shen will be the answer, but that's something that has been respect banned against Saskia already this tournament.
Yeah.
We'll see if he can prove why, and no better time to roll that out than right here, right now, for this $15,000 check.
Yeah, this is huge. And so something else to talk about is how CatGod actually was able to pick that Talon into the Kassadin because the Bipinks decided to pick up that Kassadin blind. So now the Nether Sphere is actually completely negligible because there's no AP damage that comes out from Talon.
That's amazing, yeah.
That's huge because one of his biggest safety nets is gone. At least in terms of being able to trade. We saw that a lot in the last game. He would throw out the Nether Sphere when he saw the ball coming towards him when Orianna was there, and he would absorb at least 250 damage from that, at least leaving him to be a little bit more healthy down the board.
This is actually the first AD champion you and I have cast CatGod on this entire run. It's been all AP, a lot of cast heavy too. He's had Ryze, Cassio, LeBlanc. He played a Cho'Gath once.
He did play Cho'Gath once.
Cho'Gath mid once. I do remember that. That was right after the Cho'Gath changes came through. Everyone thought he was going to be great,
Yeah.
and we have not seen him since.
Cho'Gath was going to be great, and then he wasn't.
Same.
Very, very much like my budding soccer career.
Oh, snap, lad. We going back to the glory days, huh? Telling war stories?
Yeah.
I understand how it is. I'm really excited to see this one pan out. Talon and Irelia both are so potent as laners, can just take it and run away from their opponents.
Right.
Shen, the answer now. West Coast carry, no slouch on that. We know him. We know he plays the Shen. Know he digs it. And this will be 3 different top laners now for him.
Yeah.
He's not sitting still, not sticking to any one particular thing. Once he shows it to you, he puts it in the vault.
Right. He's like, we'll bring this back for later. Honestly, the one pick that I'm looking at for this team comp of RMU is that Kassadin pick. I'm not really sure about it, to be honest.
Well, it did come through in their second round of the draft. It was their 3rd or 4th pick there.
Yeah, that's the thing is Kassadin such a difficult champion to blind pick when you don't know who you're playing into. Because you have a Kassadin who likes to negate AP damage, but you have all of your primary damage dealers are AD.
You have to wonder if they didn't just take it away as a denial because they knew that mid lane had not yet been picked.
Yeah.
So far, all we had seen at the time was Gragas, Varus, and Zyra. So they knew mid lane still on the table for CatGod. They knew, I think if they took away the Kassadin, it would probably push him. My assumption would be onto something like Ahri. Ahri's off the table, Cass is off the table. What else is he going to default to? Ahri, surprise. No, he's not. It's a Talon. It's out of left field. I would be surprised to hear anyone from RMU say that they expected that.
And the thing that gets me, though, is you didn't have to pick up that Kassadin in that round if you knew you were going to grab Shen as the last pick. Right? I mean, okay, so the Irelia kind of came out of left field.
Yep.
Fine, okay. But West Coast Carry plays Shen so often, and he plays it so well. Like, I guess for me, the logic is you know that Bipinks plays a lot of champions really, really well. Why are you going to pick a champion who doesn't do well into certain compositions, like ones that are like completely full AD, when you're going to pick up a Shen anyway?
I agree for the most part. Yeah, I think they were just trying to wait on the Shen because there's a lot that West Coast Carry could have busted out if the circumstances were right. Keep in mind, Shen seems like a response to a curveball in the draft, but they may have been trying to set themselves up for something like, say, the Kled from earlier. We know West Coast Carry privy to playing that. Maybe for the Gnar, and then when they drafted Irelia, when they drafted CatGod, he said, fine, I'll play Shen.
Okay. I can
That's
see
my
that.
assumption.
I can see that logic.
I know
too.
as little as you do in this situation.
Right. I think
less.
No. Don't cut yourself short. We're just playing the guessing game here. And so I think you have a very good point as well as me. And so I think it's one of those things. Is like, okay, if you're afraid they're going to throw you a curveball, pick the Shen early. But if you think that you've got a guaranteed composition that you know that you're playing into, wait to pick up that last pick.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about that earlier, is that we do like West Coast Carry does like to carry, and so having him as the last pick is a good idea. And with that, actually, we are loading into the Rift for game number 3 of the Midwest Campus Clash Finals. It is going to be Maryville University and the side of Robert Morris University competing for $15,000 and a whole lot of pride. Let's make some noise, ladies and gentlemen.
One last time as they charge once more into the breach. These two teams coming for blood. We'll see what they do early because now, if there were ever a time to cheese, it is this time.
This is our time.
And
actually,
Maryville knows it. Oh,
it's
my
actually
goodness.
like Maryville knows. At least there was an early ward that came up, so if anyone sticks their head outside the tri-bush, Bucksack is going to know about it. And I don't think they even saw vision of Bucksack because they don't see around that corner there.
Right,
So they
no,
don't even know
they didn't catch him.
that he ran by.
So Fog of War will be helpful there. I like that they just straight up Corrupting Potion coming on for Cat God is going to be Dark Seal coming out for Kassadin. So it's actually, it's a refreshing mid lane. Very rarely do we see, okay.
Just some trade damage, no big deal.
I like that Papa Chow actually stood behind the plant to block the volley damage. So Bucksack wasn't able to get it out.
Hey, that's important because Evan RL, he takes some damage on the chin, no problem. It's fine. He can use his shield to get to safety if he really needs to. Free Papa Chow, on the other hand, doesn't have anything in terms of defense. Like, all he can do is hide behind his plants like a scaredy cat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's not in a position to really roll out too much off the bat.
Right.
This Ash Arrow, I think, is going to be the biggest pacer. It's the strongest engage we have in this game right now. And it's going to be interesting to see how both teams play around it because, in theory, Bucksack's going to have to hit the right target. And the right target is Prototype. There's not a ton you can do. You hit Saskia with it, and it's like, okay, you hit Irelia with the arrow. She's going to have her tenacity anyway, the Merc treads, and she's just going to kind of bebop right out of it pretty soon. You can try to lock her down, but then you still find yourself in a rough situation because Irelia wants to get close to you anyway.
Yep.
If you're even West Coast Carry or Mordio or whomever's jumping in on her as a response to that arrow. You hit Chody Walrus, it doesn't matter. You snag the tank. Maybe if you have enough gumption there to burst out the tank line. Cat God's just going to be able to get away from it, parkour right out. He's not going to get worried. He can dodge that thing. It's a risky shot. It's a 1 in a million. No Luke Skywalker turning off his targeting cam there.
The good news is the stakes aren't a Death Star.
Yeah.
But the bad news is that the stakes are so much pride.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not sure which is worse. Death Star, pride. I feel like it's somewhere falls between on how much you like Star Wars memes.
Dude, I love Star Wars.
All right, well,
I live
that's,
for Star Wars
that's a
memes.
very hard decision for you to make then, sir.
Oh man.
And so with that, to circle back around to your point though about Bucksack hitting the right targets, we saw Bucksack play Ashe in that first game, and you know what targets he hit in that first game? The right targets.
Yeah.
He hit the right targets so many times in that first game that I fully believe that Bucksack will be able to hit these right targets if the opportunity is presented to him. He hasn't given us a reason to doubt him quite yet.
No. I think, honestly, if anything, his Ashe play, some of the most impressive ADC play throughout the tournament thus far. Only one game and one last opponent to unseat him from that throne.
Right. And see, the interesting thing about that, though, is coming into this tournament, I thought I would be saying that about Prototype.
Yeah.
Who all season long we have been seeing playing consistently well with Free Papa Chow being there on that ADC role. But this tournament, he just feels to be very, very underwhelming, not being able to put out as much damage as expected. So I don't know, he's been caught out a lot of times too, so overall his play just hasn't been that impressive to me. A couple of interesting things to note as we're settling into a lull here again is we do see that there are some nice defensive wards coming out from both sides. Actually, almost identical wards when you're looking at both sides of the river for opposing teams. So that's very good in terms of defending against Mordio on those ganks and Chody Walrus on those ganks, trying to keep your lane safe, because one thing that we have learned from these games is that if you grab that inch, you get that first blood kill, it goes a mile, and both of these teams are trying to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of pressure.
It is.
The game falls into these lulls just because, how do you bust that out? Who's going to be the one to cast the first stone and send the whole wall crumbling down?
That's actually really hard, because both of these teams play so safe in the early game that the only time that we ever actually see, in the last two games, the only time that we really saw first bloods were off of solo kills or off of very, very aggressive jungler plays, or very, very aggressive duo plays with a follow-up by a jungler or by a top laner. But from there, we actually kind of saw that early mid-game spiral out of control for whoever lost that fight. and they had to spend a lot of time trying to get it back under control. And sometimes they didn't even get it back under control, and they just ended up losing. Ooh. So that actually, having West Coast carry on that Shen against the Irelia actually isn't that bad of a deal.
No, I don't think so at all.
Because Irelia is such an auto attack heavy champion.
And Shen can just negate them all through his W.
Right, exactly. He can use that little safe space of his to avoid getting hit by any of those crazy blades that Irelia throws out there. And so I think that actually is a very beneficial pickup, considering that one of West Coast's most played and probably one of his favorite champions on Shen is also seems to play pretty good into that Irelia.
Wouldn't that be nice in real life? Someone attacks you with swords and you just got a magical power. It's like, nah, dude, stop.
Oh no, please, no, don't do that.
It's like whenever you were playing pretend with your friends as kids, you're like, well, I hit you with my sword. Oh, well, I have a sword-proof shield, so ha. No, you don't. It's like, oh, shut up.
You can't do that, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's how kids got stuffed in lockers. Namely me. I got stuffed in lockers.
You got stuffed in.
I was homeschooled.
How does that happen?
Focusing back in on the game. Tried to see a roam coming out. Cat God wanted it in the bot lane, but didn't quite find it, so was unable to really roll out with too much. Returns to the lane, still 10 CS up, as this is still quite a wrench, I feel, in the cogs of the machine that is Robert Morris University.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like cogs in the machine that is Robert Morris University, but we also have to think about the cogs that are the machine of Maryville University. These guys have played extremely well in that last game. They had a couple of choke points, but hang on.
Yeah, Mordio's gonna find it.
Wow.
It is a ton of damage. Should still have the isolation, but a body slam means it's nothing more than half health. Ooh. And Cat God's in. He's actually gonna burn his ultimate for that one, trying to get through. And it quiets back down.
Yeah, it looks like he's not gonna be able to get anything for that. He burned his Ignite and his ultimate to try to get on that, but luckily Bipinks, he is kind of a little bit out of the dangerous situation, being able to use that Rift Walk to get out of that ultimate of Talon and be a little bit safer there. So I think that is a benefit of at least having Kassadin into what is a little bit of a losing matchup.
Absolutely correct. Oh. Hype coming out from the players. You can tell that they're excited about this one.
In 3 short minutes, we too will be excited.
Right. Based.
It's a little bit nice being seated next to the players because we can hear when they get excited, and so mentally it prepares me for when I should stop talking.
Oh man.
Because I just
it's nice to have a Q switch, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I should wind down my point right about now.
Yep. Well, we'll get there when we get there. Still got some patient play to build up to in the meantime. Top lane, ever so slightly ticking in the favor of West Coast carry. Keep in mind, this was his response to the Irelia. He should be the one rolling through with a decent enough lead. The CS is barely there. The pressure more so than most other things. And it looks like Maryville is actually going to start up on a dragon. 9 minutes is maybe one of the earliest dragons we've seen this series from these guys.
It is.
But a Mountain Drake is all too tempting for the prototype Varus.
Well, and that's the thing is they do have that. They do have the Mountain Drake, and they do have a lot of AD. And Varus really likes to have that Mountain Drake to help siege up those turrets. And so he does have a little bit of a safety there, being able to pick that up for him. And so that is very, very big for the side of Maryville to pick up that very early Mountain Drake. Free Papa Chow getting rooted though.
Yeah, that's going to be a dangerous situation. Has to get out of that one. Mordio is ready to go. Doesn't quite find it though off the bat. Have a really nice grasping roots coming out from Zyra.
There's actually a couple of really key things that happened there. Prototype was able to land his Chains of Corruptions onto Evan RL, so there was no support being able to follow up on that. And then Free Papa Chow was actually able to land the Grasping Roots onto Mordio, so there wasn't a whole lot of damage that was going to be available to them because they did such a great job of disengaging and using the tools that they had on hand to stop that from happening. And I'm going to venture to say that this is the longest that we have gone without a first force. We're about to hit the 10 minute mark.
We just crested 10 minutes. It's likely both of these teams playing with a lot of respect for one another, not going to be the one to give it up first. Prototype might just be it, or Papa Chow. They're both quite low, but it is Bipinks in some trouble. Mordio turns this one around likely, actually. They're going to find first blood, likely second here. Chody Walrus not going to get out.
Wow.
And that's 2 quick kills picked up. Favor Robert Morris University. First blood. And a nice Little splash of gold into their back pockets. That's going to be huge for the solo laners.
Yeah, that actually is a very big pickup. Cassidy really likes to have that earlier. Hang on.
Are they going to
Prototype's
dive
bad.
Prototype? That's very interesting. Evan RL likely going to die from this one. Does not, just by the skin of his teeth. Both so low.
Wow.
But Robert Morris comes out with kill number 3 and a distinct
Mordio.
advantage
Mordio's
into game
good.
number 3. Goodbye, Papa Chow. Isolated. Tower's not going to do much for you there. Flashing into it. And just like that, Robert Morris have come out taking a commanding lead in game number 1, or 3. Game number 3.
You said game number 1 because this is so reminiscent of how dominant Robert Morris was. In this
It's true, yeah. It feels like it. It's a flashback. We got the Ashe. We got the Kazakhs.
Yeah,
That's all they need.
we've got the Shen. But
Shen?
Shin was actually Rumble. But
Yep.
we're just going to move on.
Trumbull.
Rumble? Hello?
Hello, team.
So Saskio actually does try to go in onto West Coast carry, but like we talked about, he has that safety. Catcat actually trying to go in onto Pinks, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to get out of it. I'm actually surprised that that Gillette decided not to follow up on that. 'cause
I think he
all it
could
would-
have, yeah.
All it would have taken is one more Rift Walk, and
An
Catcat
auto
would have been
attack,
donezo.
yeah.
He would have been donezo, because while we do see Chody Walrus there, he was far enough away that I think Pinks would have been safe, especially because he has that blue buff. I think he would have been able to get out. But at the same time, if you're Robert Morris, no sense in doing something that you don't need to do and losing this lead that you have.
Right, no, not at all. Oh, man. Tension still building between these two teams, but a little bit of relief in the hands of Robert Morris. I'm sure they can just breathe a shade. Nothing set in stone yet. It's only 1,800 gold here at the 12-minute mark. Not the biggest of advantages, but still helps, right?
Right.
Just helps to know that you can.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, it's a morale boost, because last game Robert Morris was doing very well, but they weren't able to play their game. They had to play to Maryville's game.
Right.
And that mentally that can be very draining, because we've seen that the way Maryville plays,
Yes.
it's very like they're going to take you, and then they know that they're going to win some of these games, and so they're just kind of slog through them just to.
Oh,
just to
Mordio's
drain you.
here. They want Saskio. He's going to pop his own ultimate under tower. West Coast carry actually might die from this one. The tower shot doesn't get him. Mordio won't go down either.
Wow.
And yet again,
How much health does
they
West Coast
get
carry
away
have?
with splinters for HP bars. That's nothing.
See, that's the thing. I actually couldn't see West Coast carry's health bar.
He should have died by all accounts there. Way too close for comfort, but all the same could be first tower pressure coming out. No! Actually goes over to Maryville. They get first tower.
Yeah, they were able to at least take that pressure of forcing Bucksack and Evan RL back. And
Actually shortens the gold lead even a little bit. Let's go indeed.
in another 3 short minutes, we will be saying that as well.
Yep, we'll hear the let's go. We'll see what's going on, but in the meantime, we have this to focus on. Pinks popping right out of there.
Yeah.
Not too worried about it. Actually, might want to find the
Wow, that's so much
aggression.
damage.
Papa Chow. This is reminiscent of that game where, not Columbia, whomever played Lux.
Oh, that was QXQ.
Was it Grand Valley?
State.
Okay, yeah, Grand Valley.
Yep.
Grabbed Lux, and then just tore everyone apart the second. Like, you got a hand on you, and it just shredded.
See you, nerds.
Yep. Gone. One spell, all health.
That's right.
GG.
And so, as we kind of transition back into this game, I want to take a look at some of the wards that these teams have out. There are a couple actually very defensive wards coming out from RMU because they want to protect certain points of the map for them. They want to protect this topside river entrance into that mid lane to try to keep Pink safe. Once you have that up, that actually provides you a nice little safety net, but he has both sides warded very, very heavily, and then they also have the blue buff warded for RMU. So there are a lot of very good control wards out, so they will be able to keep track of where Maryville is trying to go. I don't
Where
know.
Maryville is trying to go.
Yeah, and so it's constantly a battle that we see between these two teams, being able to gain vision control. Holy moly!
Yeah,
oh, wow.
It's a nice Ashe ult. Bucksack's been on that. Chody Walrus is down, and Papa Chow's on the run. West Coast carry won't find it, thanks to a good chain of corruption to stop him dead in his tracks, but he's in a pretty good position all the same. Just use the Stand United to get down. Has the Dragon Pressure ready to go. Some towers, some waves, buff. It's only now a matter of Saskio pushing this top lane, and we'll see how quickly he can do it.
Honestly, he is playing Irelia. He is going to have some decent damage onto it, but he doesn't have quite enough items. He is like 3/4 of the way into that Trinity Force. All he needs to do is finish that Zeal and then do the combined cost, and he'll be good to go on that. So he will have his first item spike, where West Coast Carry does have his first
This
item
could be a
spike.
gank coming through, though. We do see Free Papa Chow ready to go. It's only a matter of whether or not Saskio can stay alive long enough. His health bar is very much in question. By Pinks as well, very much in question. Has to call in Evan RL. The snare should be present, but meanwhile, we're back in the top lane. West Coast Carry on the 2v1 finds the first in Cat God.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
gonna find it. Maryville are falling apart.
Are you kidding me? Here comes Prototype. He is probably going to pick up West Coast Carry here, even if he taunts out. I don't think he'll be able to do enough damage to Prototype to make this happen. But wait, the teleport is coming in from By Pinks.
Prototype, very unlikely that he makes it out of this one alive. By Pinks is there. He's going to pick it up.
Holy
it's
moly.
the first kill found for Maryville, but at what cost? Chody Walrus now. Look at this.
Wow.
RMU is just shredding through this.
These guys are popping off, and now I totally understand why West Coast Carry got so
Let's
hyped.
go.
Let's go, boys. Because this is a huge run by RMU. Excellent job by Gillette to by Gillette to be able to use that teleport, and West Coast Carry. I mean, having that Sunfire Cape built up already, that allowed him to live so long against Prototype, and it allowed him to actually kill Saskio while he was just sitting there tanking Free Papa Chow's damage.
I mean, ridiculous.
I mean, it's insane that not only is that very good play by the side of West
RMU,
Coast
yeah.
Carry, but like overall, it's just like very good play by RMU.
So clean. Yeah, they have a plan, and they're executing on it so well. And they actually didn't have even as much time between last game to plan this out.
Yeah.
So props to the mastermind behind this composition, because it's doing wonders so far. We thought the Talon was going to be a huge pick coming out for Maryville. We thought it was going to be something that they could come in and, really surprise Robert Morris with, but it looks like the initial draft of Robert Morris, the initial Orianna denial, was so huge.
Yeah. I think I agree with that. That's very true. The initial draft is very big, but one of the things that I think about is that you can have. Oh, hang on.
Yep, goodbye, Cat God. Bye, Pinks. It's
gonna let him go.
Yeah, shoo him off. So, well, that's fine.
So one thing that I really feel in League of Legends, and as well in other traditional sports as well, is that you can have the best composition in the world. Like, you can have some of like the best plans, but if you don't have the players to like execute some of those plans,
Yeah.
you just aren't gonna have a great time. West Coast Carry actually getting knocked back, and he is all alone. No one is there. Mordio is rotating up towards him, but I don't think he's gonna be able to live long enough to make anyone salvage this.
No, yeah, just does have some nice defensive capabilities, but we're asking ourselves the age-old question: how many Maryville players does it take to kill West Coast Carry while their base is now compromised, as Buck, Zach, and Evan are getting ready to push this in.
Oh,
Cat
he missed
God,
it.
yeah, that's the first time actually we've seen Buck Zach just absolutely whiff an Ashe ultimate. They've come close, they've been dodged before, but that time he straight up missed. Doesn't matter though, it was a deferral. The tower's down. Second tier, bottom lane tower as well, just gonna be rotated to quick, clean, and just like that, the gold lead is quickly spiraling out of control. Maryville on the ropes.
Ooh,
Teleport.
Yeah, I was going to say, big teleport coming in from Saskio in that backline. It looks like they do want to pitch down. Pinks actually might be caught out here.
Yep.
Maybe not. Let's see.
Papa
what
Chow's
happens.
going to be in trouble. Likely going to get jumped on here. No, they go for Mordio instead. It's the Stand United. Evans in a little bit of trouble, but not as much trouble as Saskio as he goes down. Papa Chow going to be the next one to fall. The Shen is tearing through. Mordio is on the run. He likely will trade his life, but in hopes to find more, as Prototype flashing out of the damage, only going to buy him some time. He had to try something, but it wasn't enough. And they're going to take out 3-for-1 favor RMU, and it looks like they're not done with towers yet.
Yeah, RMU is probably going to take this tower, and that's going to put a huge gold advantage into their favor here. We do see it. We do see Chody Walrus and Cat God, at least in that mid lane, trying to apply some pressure here and maybe trade a tower down for it, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough, because we do see Pinks is going to use that Rift Walk to try to get close as fast as possible, but this is not a great situation for him. He did use his flash, he did use his Rift Walk, but it looks like he's trying to get a Cat God here.
Oh, what a barrel to
Oh,
save.
West Coast
Doesn't
Carry.
matter. From downtown, West Coast Carry is there. waiting off in the wings for the perfect gank. Saskia gonna try to get his Chody Walrus out of this one, but the fight may just be breaking out. It actually is. Pink's a little low, but West Coast Carry is a little unstoppable, and the Ash Arrow finds two! Saskia gone and down out of this one. Will die to that Shen. Prototype gonna be the next one down. It's triple kill, West Coast Carry.
They're gonna rotate to Barrett. They're gonna be able to go for Barrett here. There's no members for the side of Maryville that can really contest this. Shin is so tanky, Mordio is so healthy. Bucksack does so much damage. He has the Runeins available. He has the Blaze of Ruin King available. This is going to be a quick Baron. 21 minutes.
Taken out, gone.
And they get this Baron. That is huge for RMU. It's going to be so much easier for them to push anything left down on this game. Holy moly.
Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, Starkey, I owe you all an apology because I criticized this Shen pick. I was like, well, why do they really, I had my questions about it. I had my doubts. I have been shut up thoroughly by West Coast Carry and his performance on this Shen. 9, 2, and 4. He is, I don't want to say single-handedly running the show here, but he's definitely in charge of the way this game's being played out right now. That Shen pick for the last pick has been huge. He's got more than half of his team's kills. He's got the most participation. He's just steamrolling through and doing such a good job with it. The Irelia pick didn't scare him. He picked it into it. He's ready to go. And the world is their oyster right now.
I think when West Coast Carry woke up this morning, he had a couple of pair of pants that he packed with him, and he like looked at two pairs and he was like, I want my carry pants today.
Scrub pants, carry pants. We're gonna put on the carry pants.
And that's what he did. He's wearing the carry pants right now.
Grabbed his backpack, tossed his team into it. Not that his team needs to be carried. They all have positive KDAs running through this. Very minimal deaths on anyone.
Here's the thing, though. Like, West Coast Carry is playing so well. His Stand United are timed so perfectly. But there's also the fact that he's doing an excellent job of landing taunts on targets. I don't think I've seen him miss a taunt this game. Even in lane, he was on fire that entire time.
Oh, Prototype.
Ooh, wow, that is so much damage.
They dangle him out like a worm on a hook, but it does okay. Double redemptions. Not going to save Chody Walrus, however. He was definitely cost out at that one. And now the side of Maryville. Not a lot of options here as their tower is getting constricted on. It's going to be tower number 1 taken down. Tower number 2, I'm sorry, Inhibitor on the docket, and possibly a second tower. This Baron.
This is insane. And the thing is like look at the jungle of Maryville. There are so many wards out there. They're trying to be as safe as possible, but like RMU just doesn't care. They're gonna be as aggressive. Oh, by Pinks, he doesn't have the Baron. He is behind the rest of his team. He will be able to get out just fine because he has that Rift Walk. He has that blue buff. He'll be fine. He's gonna get out just a little bit slower on the coming back end of all of that.
Right.
But I was just going to make a comment about how many wards are there, and it doesn't matter because RMU doesn't care about finding you in your stinking jungle. They're going to fight you in the middle of your freaking base and just be like, this area of land is mine now. Yep. I claim this.
Walk into your house and exit. Take it away. Very Mongolian style. This is ours now. Later, skaters. RMU have definitely been playing like savages in the best context of the word.
Right. I mean, they have been playing so extremely well, and they're just they know what they want to do, and they're making it happen. And
it's another tower down.
Like, but the thing is, what can Maryville really do in this? Like, normally Maryville is on the like side of the 13,000 gold lead, right? That's them.
You can really tell they don't have a ton of practice playing from behind. And it is biting them so badly right now. They're going to try to get in. Saskia is going in for West Coast Carry. He wants to find it. But West Coast, hugely tanky, has the Guardian's Angel, likely not going to be able to be taken out. Meanwhile, Bypinks is just priming that wave behind it all, ready to go. Another tower possibly on the docket here if you are Robert Morris. 12K gold, 7 towers to 1. They want to find 8. They want to find 9. Possibly 10 and 11 as well. They have the Baron. The window is closing a little bit there, but we'll see what it all comes down to before too long now.
This is getting extremely close at this point. Like, look at this. Pinks is on the bot lane. He's using the super minions to push in onto that Nexus, and they're having to send Cat God there to try to deal with it. But then we see that they're having to send 3 members
That's
into
a
the mid lane
desperate
to defend
teleport.
about that.
Oh,
yeah, like,
man.
this is so big.
Saskia wants to find it. They knock back Bucksack, but they don't have the damage for him. And Chody Walrus gets turned around. Saskia's onto the back line, but how long can you stay there? Mordio's going to find it. Saskia's going to go down. Cat God's in, but just as quickly as he's in, he has to get out. There's no chance he survives that one by Pinks. Just needs to turn his focus around. The Cat God looking more like Cac Mortal here as he runs right out of this one. Another tower in the eyes of a very, very hungry RMU. They want this. They will not be denied. They're going to take tower number 2. They're going to take inhibitor number 2. They are just grabbing everything they want, and no one can stop them.
I honestly, like, this is such a huge game from RMU. This entire time, they've done such a good job. Their map control was impeccable. They did an excellent job of getting the kills that they needed to. The communication was so freaking good. I have not seen the communication for RMU be this good since let's see, Shady. Yeah, since Shady. It was so good when Shady was here, and I'm seeing RMU playing extremely well, and this is such a good match by RMU right now. Like, and there's nothing that Maryville can do. Like, they've only gotten 3,000 gold in like the last 4 minutes. There's been nothing that they can do. They cannot stop the RMU train. They are just demolishing it.
Robert Morris University has made such a strong case that exactly why they deserve to be the inaugural Midwest Campus Clash champions. It's only a matter of dotting the I's and crossing the T's